Welcome back to Late Night with the Gringos, episode 33. We got a lot to talk about. As you can see from the thumbnail, President Trump has signed another executive order and it's declassifying the JFK files, the RFK files, and the MLK files.
Because why would you want to sweep anything under the rug?
Well, why?
Why?
Why? So we're going to talk about that executive order because it's quite interesting, actually, when you read it. It's not just saying, hey, declassify these. I think Trump's had enough of being stonewalled. So we're going to talk a lot about immigration as well, lots with immigration. We're going to talk about the 14th Amendment. Trump tried to, an executive order that just got put on hold by a federal judge. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Oscars and where they're headed and why I think, there's just some strangeness going on there. So there's a lot to talk about today. But first, I really, really do want to say, hey, welcome back. How you doing, buddy?
I'm back.
You're back. You're
back again.
We've been out in the sun all day. I burn. He turns brown because he's got his mother's skin. But not me. I turn purple.
Can't walk to the border anytime soon.
No. I just the sun kills me down here.
Well, you can. I can't.
You can. It's so close. We're so much closer to the equator that it's just, even if it's not like, it doesn't feel hot out. It's just so intense and blinding as well. So, but it was good. We're getting our house put back together again, and well, not put back together, but put together. So getting ready to do a big move. We're going to start packing this weekend and get into our house and setting up our office, and I think it's going to be awesome.
It's looking good. We got internet up.
We got internet. Oh yeah, we got Starlink up after a few snafus. Mostly on my part because I don't read what I'm supposed to read. So very interesting. If you hear a little banging against the door over there, that's Caesar. He's hi Caesar.
Well, actually, I don't know how he did it, but he managed to actually open the door up.
Our dog actually just opened the door. I'm not really sure how. It's actually kind of freaking me out that he actually, popped that door open. All right. But anyways, let's get to the topic at hand. The thumbnail. If you don't know who is on the thumbnail, my son here says, well, maybe.
Well, it's Thomas Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson, sucker. No, so if you don't know who's on the thumbnail, it's not Thomas Jefferson. That is Lee Harvey Oswald, the man who is basically held accountable or responsible for the assassination of John F. Kennedy, even though we're not really sure he actually even pulled the trigger or even was aware of the situation.
We're not 100% sure. We're pretty sure he was one of the people that pulled the triggers.
I don't know.
There's eyewitness accounts that witnessed him walking out of there and then saw him shoot a Dallas cop.
Hey,
on the same street.
That was that was further away.
Well, not the same street, but different street, obviously.
Wait, that was like an hour later. Nitrate tests, which are the chemical residue that's left on your hands.
Yeah, it's GSR.
Yeah, after you fire a weapon.
Gunshot residue.
He had none. The FBI did nitrate tests on his hands and his finger. None.
Just wash your hands.
No evidence that he ever fired a weapon.
Bleach is a hell of a thing.
I don't think he really had that kind of thought. People say that during the shooting, when the president was being assassinated, there are multiple witnesses that are left out of testimony that gave witness statements, but left out of testimony with the Warren Commission to state that they saw Lee Harvey Oswald on the second floor in the cafeteria having his lunch, not on the sixth floor of the book depository. And that's a hell of a climb and a run up those stairs if you're going to get there in that time. So there's a lot of
Olympic sprinter.
He wasn't.
If you're dedicated Marine.
Here's the thing. He's a Marine who knew Russian, who had classified level because he was helping with radar. No. Before he went to Moscow, before he defected to Russia,
right,
and renounced his U.S. citizenship. You had the U-2 spy planes. He was someone who worked on the radar that actually helped guide those things. So he wasn't some just country bumpkiss. This guy was, you don't teach somebody Russian in the military unless they're going to be for intelligence.
Right.
During that time. So I personally think that he had something to do with it.
Which would be a fall guy.
If I was on a jury and I was presented the evidence as it is now, I would have a lot of reasonable doubt to say that he actually did that.
Well, wasn't he also not convicted, but he was. It was tied to another attempted assassination of a general.
Well, he did try to. Yes, he did try to assassinate a general a few weeks prior. Shot through the guy's kitchen window.
Barely missed
him.
Trained like a madman not to miss again, allegedly, and then
but that's
allegedly. But also the shot is like nearly impossible.
Yeah, none of the FBI sharpshooters could do it.
Right.
They can not.
Well, granted, those are FBI sharpshooters. This is a Marine.
He's a Marine, but It was an Italian rifle.
It's a Carcano.
Carcano.
I'm familiar.
The world's worst.
They're not great. They're tiny.
Weapon, like rifle.
They're not. They're very cheap.
And so. You want to let him up? The dog's getting. We're getting to a little heated. There you go, Caesar. One day you'll get Caesar on camera. He's just an old man. He wanted up on the bed, but it's a bad rifle, and it takes so many movements to get that thing.
Well, they did a study.
Yeah,
and it is possible if you train. It is possible to hit the shots at the timing he did.
Okay, a moving target.
Moving target. It was a moving target.
And it was a moving target, and the third shot is going to be your best shot, a headshot, when it should be the first shot should be your best shot.
Yeah, the rule of thumb is always your first shot.
Through foliage of a tree?
It's possible. They did it. There was a test. I forgot what it was. I saw a test.
It's a Texas elm that's in front of that Texas School Depository, and in November, it's in full bloom.
No, I'm familiar. We lived in Texas.
Yeah.
Familiar with that tree. But I'm not saying
we can argue back and forth, but let's get to the executive order first.
Please.
Order. Because then I got a lot of other stuff about Oswald, which really puts a lot in
the being assassinated by Jack Ruby, who has mob connections. It's all creepy.
He was a mobster, yeah. And then Jack Ruby dying of mysterious illness. They say cancer, but
it's always a mysterious illness.
Come on. All right. Declassification. This is Trump's executive order, which is, I think, brilliant. It's about time. We want transparency. And why is this important? Before I actually get it, why is this important? Why is this lingered? Not only the mystery, the conspiracies, all that stuff. And if Lee Harvey Oswald actually did it, and it turns out that he actually did it by himself, that's fine. We accept it as long as we can see the evidence. However, this is the point in which a lot of the country lost faith in the government, and there started to be a cynicism that grew. In the 50s, the government you could do no wrong. You had Eisenhower. You just won World War II a few years ago. The economy's great.
It's on the up and up. It's looking good.
It was just awesome.
Too busy dealing with Russians.
Yeah, and everybody looked at the government like this is a great thing. We've liberated Europe. We've helped rebuild it. We've saved the Jewish population. We're helping them resettle in Israel. It's all this technological achievement. We're the superpower. No one can touch us. We're gonna, So with the assassination of John F. Kennedy, you saw a lot of
doubt. Plus, the civil rights movement is full swing at that time.
There was so much going on.
Beneath the surface.
The beginning of not yet hippies, but it was the beginning. They called it the beatniks. Beatniks is like the people just before hippies, but
you started to see all that kind of just coming above the or on the horizon.
Yeah, so it was an interesting time in American history. So declassification of records concerning the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And I'm sorry, I don't think that guy did the shooting by himself. I'm sorry, I definitely think it was something more than just...
Who, Oswald?
No, for Martin Luther King Jr.
Oh, well, the story is, what was it, Alabama?
Yeah, Alabama.
Or was it Tennessee?
It was
Alabama or Tennessee.
I'm not as familiar with it, but
I remember, I just know that he was on a balcony.
Yeah.
And allegedly a shot was fired out from cover, which was presumed to be a bush because they found, I think, something there. So I think they found some casings.
Yeah.
But they never found a shooter.
No.
And I find it hard to believe
that... Well, they have someone that they arrested in this.
No one got charged. Is it unsolved?
No, it's not.
I think it's an unsolved. No,
it's not.
Yeah.
Dude, what do they teach in history?
That's what I was told in my history courses.
James Earl Ray, that's the name, is believed to have shot and killed Martin Luther King Jr. on April 4th, 1968.
But he wasn't convicted.
Ray was convicted of the assassination in 1960, sentenced to 99 years in prison. He died in prison in 1998. Ray was seen fleeing from a rooming house across the street from the Lorraine Motel, which is where the balcony was. A rifle and binoculars with Ray's fingerprints were found near the shooting site. Ray purchased a rifle under an alias 6 days before the shooting.
It was also Tennessee. I was right about Tennessee. I said Alabama first.
Ray recanted his guilty plea and claimed to have been framed by a gun smuggler. Ray's lawyers staged a televised mock trial where Ray was found not guilty. King's family has said they believe Ray. King's family believes that Ray was innocent.
That's why I know. That's why I know
and that the true murderer was a Memphis Police Department officer. And I can absolutely believe that. Martin Luther King was one of the biggest threats to the establishment at the time.
Oh, yeah.
FBI had him under surveillance.
Well, because he did no wrong, but he was causing so much change and,
non-violence. He's our Gandhi.
Essentially.
He's our Gandhi, and I think there's a category you put Martin Luther King Jr. And some people are like, why do we celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. Day? there's a reason, right? Some people are like, oh, listen, there's a rarefied air that people like Martin Luther King belong in, right? Whether you are 100% on board with everything that the guy had to say or not, it's a rarefied air, nonviolent protest to have that kind of movement. Yes, right place, right time, absolutely. But so, anyways, the House Select Committee on Assassinations, which we're going to talk about them a lot. The committee re-examined the evidence and concluded that Ray may have had co-conspirators. The committee concluded that there was no convincing evidence of government complicity. Okay, so the House Select Committee on Assassinations, after the 60s, people were getting knocked, like you got JFK, RFK, you got Martin Luther King. They actually had a committee, and it still exists, because they were reviewing all the stuff for Trump and Butler. They put together this House committee of congressmen to look at assassinations that are like, okay, something doesn't smell right here. So anyways, back to this. The executive order. By authority vested in me as president, by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered as follows. Section 1, policy and purpose. More than 50 years after the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the federal government has not released to the public all of its records related to those events. And that's true. Even though there was a law passed that all of the JFK files were supposed to already be public, but people in the intelligence community kept putting roadblocks up.
Right.
And because there was maybe sensitive information or even
national security concerns
or methods that they didn't want other governments to know about yet. All right. But anyways, their families and the American people deserve transparency and truth. It is in the national interest to finally release all records related to these assassinations without delay. Now, you skip ahead and really, here we go. I have now determined that the continued redaction. Now, redaction is when you see a classified document, but it's got that black streak through it where it's like, oh, there's a part of it you don't know. And I've read a bunch of those types of documents with my academic work, looking at different declassified CIA cables and State Department.
Everything's blacked out.
But yeah, it's like here's 4 words you can read, but everything else is blacked out. But they call that declassified. I'm like, okay, that doesn't really help me in my research.
Doesn't really solve much.
No. So it is continued redaction and withholding of information from records pertaining to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, is not consistent with the public interest, and the release of those records is long overdue. And although no act of Congress directs the release of information pertaining to the assassinations of Senator Robert F. Kennedy, because an act of Congress does demand the release of JFK files. Now, he's going to include Senator Robert F. Kennedy and the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I have determined, Trump, that the release of all records in the federal government's possession pertaining to each of those assassinations is also in the public interest. Hell yes, it is.
I hope it'd be in their public interest.
Within 15 days of the date of this order, the Director of National Intelligence and the Attorney General shall, in coordination with the Assistant to the President for National Security Affairs and the Counsel to the President, present a plan to the President for the full and complete release of records relating to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. So no redaction, nothing blacked out. Here are all the records. Here's all I have. What still exists, because I guarantee you some things were destroyed. Absolutely, I think some things were destroyed. I mean, a lot of the files already, we know a lot of the files that the CIA had on Lee Harvey Oswald because they knew well about him. He was well known within the CIA for whatever purpose well before the assassination. I bet those are all gone. So, anyways, there'll be no redaction. There's going to be no hiding. So if this goes through and there's no pushback, now the Director of National Intelligence, that's supposed to be Tulsi Gabbard when she gets, I think she needs confirmation. I'm not sure if that's actually something that needs confirmation as a position. But if it does, she should get nominated. She should get, confirmed. So that's Tulsi Gabbard. The Attorney General, that's Pam Bondi. Again, smart lady, a former Attorney General from Florida. I think those two together will be able to come up with a real good plan to get all these records released. And I'm sure Robert F. Kennedy, the new Health and Human Services Secretary,
would love to know what happened to his father.
Would love to know what happened to his father because he believes that Sirhan did not do the shooting. We're going to get into that too.
Right. I'm actually not so familiar with that one. I always thought that one was kind of suspicious. It's like, oh, this guy right in the middle of the stage in downtown Los Angeles, some random guy decides to shoot him.
Well, not the stage. He had gotten off stage and was walking through the kitchen.
Right.
He was surrounded by a huge crowd. But
I say stage because I recognize
let's stick with JFK first. And where's your phone, by the way?
Room.
Go get your phone because we need to text somebody to make sure they have if they're coming in or not. They're gonna see you coming in. Anyways, so JFK, there's a lot of questions when it comes to this particular assassination. And a lot of people say it was the mob, it was the CIA, it was a couple of both, it was the government, it was Cuba, it was whatever, right? And
let me tell you something. As a man who's lived in Italy, I'm going to go with the mob.
You're going to go with the mob?
Mob had a hand at least.
The mob would have the resources at the time. I mean, they have sharpshooters, they have assassins. I mean, it's just what they are. And sure, they could have been on loan. But what I have up here now, and here's where things get weird, right? This is just one of the weird things. The image here on the right, that is a picture taking in Mexico City. Now, during the time in the early 60s and late 50s, Mexico City was a hub of international espionage. Every country had spies here coming because it was easy access to Central America, to Cuba, the United States, right? So it was a hub of activity. And so there was a lot of surveillance being done by the U.S. government, whether it was the FBI, CIA, State Department, whatever. So this image here on the right is a picture taken that the government, the U.S. government says is Lee Harvey Oswald, coming out in Mexico City coming out of the Soviet embassy at the time.
It's always Mexico with the Russians.
Now over here, you see on the left, these are like here, right here. This is an actual picture of Lee Harvey Oswald from when he appeared on television. I want you to look at both pictures. The U.S. government swore this is Lee Harvey Oswald over here on the right. That is not Lee Harvey Oswald. I am not an analyst, but I can tell two different people from two different photographs.
Hey, maybe he let himself go.
Maybe he did, but this is
really badly.
This is before the assassination.
Right.
So the idea that he was so this whole idea that he had become colluding with the Soviets and maybe the Soviets were involved in the assassination. This is where all this sort of started.
Do you think there's a reason why they chose Mexico? Is like, oh, he was seen in Mexico
because there's
a history
because
of,
there was
Russians
so much. Well, because
Mexico,
like I said, at that time, every
communists.
country had spies in Mexico City. Again, it was like the wild, wild west of spies because again, everything going on with Cuba, everything going on in Central and South America, everything going on that they could try to get across the border of the United States. It was just the perfect place. So that's why there's so much. When you see it now, the embassies here in Mexico, especially in Mexico City, they're massive,
and their security is insane.
I couldn't even. I made a mistake of. I was walking by the U.S. embassy. So that's a really cool building. I got out my phone to take a picture of it, being just being an idiot, thinking I'm going to take a picture of the U.S. embassy. I had like 14 armed men screaming at me not to take a picture. Like put my phone down. I'm like, okay. Like I didn't get, but that's how security is here in Mexico City when it comes to this stuff. Anyways, so I would like you to look at like Little Gringo. Is that Lee Harvey Oswald coming out of the Soviet embassy?
Gringo, I gotta be honest, it don't look like it.
And there were other Lee Harvey Oswalds popping up all over the place at the time. It was just mass confusion, right? Here's Lee Harvey Oswald here on the right. This is him in Russia with his buddies after he defected, right? It's the height of the Cold War. You are a Marine with sensitive classified intelligence in your brain.
Right.
And the American government allows you to just renounce your U.S. citizenship and defect to the Soviet Union?
No.
That's what happened. And so he goes there. He's treated well. He's given a good job. He's, because he's like the poster boy, right? He's the poster boy for Soviet Russia. And he falls in love. He's got a Russian sweetheart. They get married, right? And then he decides, I don't want to be in Russia anymore. I want to go back to the United States a couple of years later. And they let him in, no problem. They help him. They go, oh, yeah, we'll give you the money. We'll loan you the money. Come on.
Which is suspicious. Suspicious as could be.
You have to think that this guy should have been debriefed at some point, or the government would have been like, hey, what are you doing? So it's like, what was going on there? What was I mean, we talk about immigration issues. This is an immigration issue, number one. Number two, it's an intelligence issue. It's a national security issue, but they just let him back in. Obviously, to be just given a new passport and after renouncing your U.S. citizenship at the height of the Cold War and living in Soviet Russia,
right?
He had to have some connection somewhere, even though you never know, you never figure those out. But there he is enjoying life. And again, one of those questions: how the hell did they let him back in the country? And why is there no record of him ever being interviewed afterwards? And speaking about being interviewed, so did you know Lee Harvey Oswald, after he was arrested for the murder of Officer Tippit and then being charged for the murder of the president, was interrogated for about 12 hours between November 22nd and November 24th, 1963, the day he died. After he was arrested for the assassination, the interrogations were conducted by Captain J.W. Fritz of the Dallas Police Department and other investigators. What happened during the interrogation? Well, this is all correct. They actually did the research. Oswald was questioned intermittently over the course of several days. Oswald was advised of his rights, including the right to remain silent and to consult with an attorney. Oswald was asked about his activities before and after the assassination. Oswald was asked about his work at the Texas State Book Depository. What records exist of this interrogation, you might ask? There are no recordings of the interrogation, either written or on audio tape. Zero. And Captain J.W. Fritz destroyed all of his notes from those interrogations. Investigators prepared memorandas of their recollections of what Oswald might or might not have said during those interrogations and submitted those to the Warren Commission. But there's no record of what this is the man you have sitting in front of you, and you think he might be the guy who pulled the trigger that murdered the President of the United States. And there's no stenographer, no, the little woman with the little typewriter that sits there during court proceedings, nothing like that. There's nothing. No one brought in a little tape recorder and hit record. Nothing.
Nothing. Of course, why would you want that on record, Gringo?
I mean, come on. I mean, this is a captain in the Dallas Police Department and other investigators. No one raised an eyebrow. Okay. A draft of the interrogation is part of the Dallas Police Department collection. You actually read it. You don't know if it's all true, if it's half false, half true. It's just people's recollections. Remember, oh yeah, he said this, then we said that. Then he...
Which is, people remember so well back in this time.
Well, yeah. So, again, why is it... Well, the investigation, you could say it's sloppy police work.
The thing is, if you look at it, the Dallas police, if you remember, wanted to do it their way, according to their book, but they were prevented in the hospital.
Maybe.
Don't you remember this?
Well, yeah, because the Secret Service wanted the body.
Right, but they also wanted to conduct their own investigation on the body and everything else.
Yeah.
They said, nope, this is ours.
Yeah, but yeah,
they kicked them out.
Well, it was also the coroner. The coroner said, listen, I'm a state official. I'm the coroner for the Dallas police. I'm the coroner for the city of Dallas. This is a state crime. This is a murder that happened. And he's like, by law, I have to do the autopsy. And there was a fight. And finally...
They almost had guns drawn in the office with President Ted there.
And finally, one of the Secret Service that was close to Jackie convinced Jackie to say, I want let the Secret Service take him. And no one's going to tell Jackie no in that moment. She's still wearing the pink suit. She's still covered in blood. There are still pieces of her husband's skull and his brain on her suit.
Right.
No one's saying no to her. So
I don't think anyone should say no to her.
Right? No, they should have. That was the law. They should have. I mean,
sure, yes, but I mean, at the same time, you're going to really say, sorry, ma'am, can't have.
Well, there's all these other things. If you look at the footage, John, the guy who brought there was a gentleman was called up in Dallas at a funeral parlor, and they said, we need a casket, the best casket you have. And he's like, okay. And I believe it was white with bronze handles. Don't quote me on that one.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy says, I got the casket, I put it in the hearse, and I brought it over, realizing it's for the president. They put the president's body in that, and he was wrapped in sheets. Bed sheets.
Right.
There's footage of that casket being loaded onto Air Force One. All right? We're going to get to that whole debacle in a second. Air Force One takes off, lands in Washington, D.C. When they take the casket out, it's a different casket, and the medical examiners at Walter Reed Hospital will tell you, he was in a body bag. No sheets. Okay, so What was who was
where'd Mr. President go?
well? Who was messing with the body before an autopsy? Who was moving anything?
Didn't they take a picture of the casket on Air Force One as Lyndon B. Johnson gets sworn in? If I'm not mistaken,
I think there is a picture.
There is a picture.
So, but there's that all that discrepancy. Now, by the way, within minutes of Oswald being arrested, Air Force One and Lyndon Baines Johnson, as he's being sworn in as the next president, is being told it's a lone gunman. We have the assassin. Blah blah blah. No investigation has been done, but the White House is already being told this.
Right. Well, I imagine at the same time though, this is like the first time you have a president get assassinated since the 1800s.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's no real protocol for this. They're just like, anything that comes in,
there is protocol. It's called a murder investigation.
True. But it's a little different. Because you don't know if there's ties to Russia.
Well,
you don't know what's going on.
You don't know what's going on. I mean, you don't know what's going on. Fine, swear Lyndon Baines Johnson in. But, let's talk about preserving evidence. So the limo that JFK was riding in and Governor Connolly was riding in, because Connolly was hit in a bunch of places, because the whole magic bullet theory, right? I'm going to get to that in a second.
You don't like the magic bullet theory?
I don't. The magic bullet theory just pisses me off. So this is a limousine that is driven to the hospital. The president's blood is all over. You don't know if there's bullet holes. You don't know if there's evidence in there. The governor's blood is all in there. You look at a trajectory. This is a crime scene. The governor gets
shot. You had the president get shot.
But this is a crime scene. That car is a crime scene. Do you know what they did immediately with the car?
Hosed it down.
Buddy.
You gotta wash it. You gotta wait for Lyndon's gotta use the car.
No.
Get it going. Actually, fun fact about it. They did actually use it for, I think, presidents after the fact. If I'm not mistaken. They did use the same limousine. Which, that's gotta be morbid.
A little bit.
A little morbid. Sit in this seat. It's lucky, I swear.
You ever see those things where they did the comparison to Lincoln and Kennedy and the assassination?
It's all creepy.
It's all creepy. Lincoln was shot in Ford Theater. Kennedy
was shot in a Ford.
was shot in a Ford.
There was their secretaries.
No, Kennedy was shot in a Lincoln.
Oh, Lincoln.
Something like that. It's so weird. Anyways, the secretary's names, all that fun stuff. Whether that means anything, I don't know. I think it's all. Did you get any text message back on the thing we're waiting on?
Well, did you send a text?
I don't. My phone's got the camera on right now.
I never sent a text.
Oh yeah, you gotta send that text.
I assumed you sent the Ringo.
Send that text. Thinking of you. How are you? We streaming. Anyways. So the assassination has got a lot of things wrong with it. The investigation of the assassination, a lot of things.
Oh, it's as sloppy as could be. It's so sloppy. It's like, this is criminal.
Okay. Let's talk about the magic bullet. All right.
Who doesn't like a good magic bullet?
All right. Let's see if I can pull up the actual. Let's see if I can actually pull up an image. Oh, here we go. All right. So this image here. So Arlen Specter, who became senator from Pennsylvania, came up with this idea because they couldn't figure out how 3 bullets. Because if they had more than 3 shots, you have a conspiracy. You have another shooter. Because Oswald only got off the 3 shots. They only have the 3 casings, and that was their story. So they can't change it, right?
Right.
So the first bullet missed, or either the first or the second bullet missed. Why? How do we know this? Because it ricocheted and hit a bystander who was standing under the underpass.
And swears that it was the first.
Well, they found it,
and they also found it.
They found fragments, concrete. Right? Yeah, in the concrete. So the first, they have one bullet that goes through Kennedy's throat like this, and you see him in the Zapruder film come up like this. So they need another bullet to account for all the other wounds. So bullet from assassin's gun, 60 feet high, comes down, goes through the shoulder, the back and shoulder of President Kennedy, then moves up and goes through the tie knot area, then goes back down, goes entry near right armpit, then comes out of the armpit, goes into Connolly's wrists, then comes back down and goes into, also then goes through his rib cage, and then ends up in his leg. Now, at some point in time, to explain the physics of this, not only did it do all this crazy zigzagging, the bullet, according to the Warren Commission, hovered in midair at certain points, and actually, in midair, turned.
No, actually, there's a reason for this.
Okay, give me.
This has been proven, actually. the seats are actually at different levels in the car.
Okay.
Lincoln. Back in 18. No, I'm joking.
Kennedy's seat was higher. Kennedy's was lower and more in.
But also the hand positions at the moment when you see the shots line up perfectly. So if you look at the normally, it's like, this doesn't make any sense. But if you look at the frame by frame, which is what, the Zapruder film is so important for the investigation, the shots make sense.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Feasible.
Then let me ask you this.
Though I don't believe the entire bullet is the bullet that went through everybody.
Okay. Hold on right there. Now, let's say you're right about that. Why is it that every major law enforcement agency, congressman on that committee as well, future former heads of CIA, because it was headed by Alan Dulles, the Warren Commission, didn't think to look at that, didn't think to question that, didn't think, why? Because they were looking for the easiest bullshit answer, right? And then also, then explain to me why the bullet looks like it's never been fired.
Right, that's why I said I don't believe that part of the theory.
That's the bullet right there. That's the actual bullet. They call it the pristine bullet. It made all those wounds. It went through the bone, the flesh, everything, clothing, and it came out and fell. Well, first of all, they couldn't find it at first, and then finally they found it on a gurney. It just kind of fell out like that. Are you kidding me? It didn't. I mean, we've all seen bullets that have been fired and hit. They don't come out pristine like that, So there's going to be a lot of questions that need to be answered, and hopefully the JFK declassification solves that. Who was Lee Harvey Oswald? No, very little.
No one will know.
We know very little.
We do know this.
Yeah.
He's 6 feet under.
He is 6 feet under.
That's something we do know.
But what if he had nothing to do with it? What if he really was what he said he was? He said it. He said it to the camera. I'm just a patsy. What if he really was? And then he gets assassinated himself a couple days later, live. First of all, television was kind of brand new,
right? So this is like historic.
This is historic. So first we got, and then they were that was being broadcast live. Lee Harvey Oswald being brought out and being transferred, and that was being broadcast live to all of America Thanksgiving weekend, and they all saw it, and it was just like, what in the hell are we witnessing? It was one of those what the hell moments. I talked to my father when he was alive, and I asked him. I said, "Do you remember where you were when you learned that Kennedy was shot?" And everybody from that time remembers the moment and the place that they were at when they learned that the president was shot. It was just one of those moments. And it's about time we had transparency because there's so many questions. And maybe it'll come out and be like, you know what? Yeah, all the evidence points to Oswald. Actually, we have all this stuff. It's all classified because we try to protect some sources. Yeah, he was one of our guys and now he wasn't and all that stuff. But, he lost his mind and he did this horrible thing.
He was a nut job.
And maybe that comes out and we say, okay, good. Good. At least we know now. Okay. And here's all the answers to all these conspiracy questions. And here's all the explanations. And we'll walk us through it one by one. But until that happens, there's a vacuum of understanding. There's a vacuum of information. There's a vacuum of explanation. There's a vacuum of transparency. So guess what? The American public's going to fill that vacuum in for themselves. And that's what we've been doing. But it's so weird that, hey, President John F. Kennedy gets assassinated. What happens later? His brother
gets assassinated. In very suspicious ways.
Yes. Robert F. Kennedy was running for president. It was a California primary.
He was on his way to win.
He was going to win that easily. He was going to win the Democratic primary easily. He would have been the Democratic nominee for president. And he probably would have won. He probably would have become president. So he gets off stage and he walks, and they're bringing him through the back where the kitchen is, and he's got security all around him. But all of a sudden, some guy appears and shoots him. Now they say he was shot from behind because they still have his clothing. The bullet holes are all in his back, and the fatal bullet is one that went behind his right ear. That's important because the man arrested was this man, Sirhan, a Palestinian born in Jerusalem, and at first, right away, he admitted to it. When he was there, They arrested him on the spot. He said, he goes, I did it. And then later recanted. He later said, no, I didn't do it.
It's like me, never.
Right? And he's still in jail, 99 years. But here's the thing. Almost every eyewitness says that, yeah, we saw Sirhan. Yes, he had a weapon, but he was not behind RFK. Somebody else fired those shots. And even Robert F. Kennedy Jr., his son, believes that. And he's someone who's looked at the evidence all his life and had to hear it. And he even believes Sirhan's story. And that Sirhan is being framed by co-conspirators. And so does the House Select Committee on Assassinations. They believed there was a conspiracy. Maybe not a government conspiracy, but a conspiracy, which means there was more than one person involved. So if everybody says that Sirhan was to the west side of RFK while he was walking, how does he get a bullet in his back of his right ear? Is there another magic bullet? Did it take a U-turn? And again, these questions have never been answered. Again, you get an arrest. It's a lone nut. That's it. Put him away 99 years. And he was originally sentenced to death, but they got rid of the death penalty for him. And he'll probably never get out of jail, but those files are going to get released, and we'll see what. Will there be as much meat on the bone for that one? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Hoover was the head of the FBI, and he had files on everybody. He probably was the most powerful person. J. Edgar Hoover was probably the most powerful person in the country at that point. He had files on everybody. So we'll see what comes out of those FBI files and those intelligence files. And then we got MLK, like we said. We talked about MLK already. No one believes that shooting was done by one person, or there was only one person involved, or that. It was just and it's so easy to think that some dumb redneck wanted to kill MLK Jr. Sure.
I mean, that's right there.
That's a believable story. Absolutely. In that time, at that age, sure. During the height of the civil rights movement and racial tensions tearing the country apart, absolutely. It's totally plausible that James Earl Ray was a SOB of a redneck and did the job himself. But I don't believe it at all. I don't believe that in the 60s you have all these people dying in this manner, mysteriously from lone gunmen. Even if you look at Butler, Pennsylvania. Let's look at Butler, Pennsylvania. Again, another lone nut. But where are all the answers? Have you heard anything from that? No. Why was the house that he lived in scrubbed clean? Didn't even have utensils in it. No forks, knives, spoons. But people lived there? What about all these phones he had? What about all these accounts? Where's the information on that? Don't know. And maybe the investigation's ongoing. I don't know. But, it sort of just kind of quietly went away. It was sort of like somebody tried to assassinate President Trump. A week later, Joe Biden drops out of the race. And the story seems almost forgotten. The only person that ever brings it up again is Trump. And maybe because, because it transformed him as a person. But why are we asking more questions about that? Like, hey, and then a week later, another guy, or a month later, another guy on the golf course. Like, wait a minute, how did he get there? I mean, this is the Republican nominee for president. The guy's probably going to win. No answers, and that is the gorilla, that the 800-pound gorilla that Trump is fighting against with this executive order. This is no joke executive order. This is no. I mean, there's a lot of stagecraft involved, and a lot of fanfare involved, and a lot of hey, look at me, I want to be the popular president, I want to do the right thing. But there's a lot behind this. I mean, you're talking about forcing these intelligence agencies to reveal things they haven't wanted to reveal for over a half a century, for reasons that are probably beyond our understanding right now, and for reasons that are probably somewhat maybe even nefarious. We'll find out. And these are, I think you're going to see, I think in a month, we're going to have some files released, and I don't think they're going to release all of them at the same time.
I would love if they did.
I don't do that. I think that'll be a mistake, because it'll be like drinking from fire. I think the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, and I think Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, are going to get some people together and go, okay, let's go through all this stuff. How do we release it in the order in which it'll be manageable and digestible to the American public so they understand we're being honest with them and we're trying to tell them, here's the evidence we have and here's why it leads to this. That's the only way we can look at that. At least I hope. But yes, do not underestimate the weight of this executive order that President Trump signed today. It also puts him at odds with his own intelligence agencies.
Because I'm sure they're not happy with this.
They're probably really not happy. I mean, sure, John Ratcliffe, who's going to be the CIA director, or I think he actually got confirmed as CIA director today. Yes, he's on Team Trump. But the established intelligence apparatus, the people who have been there lifelong and within the institution and are more loyal to that institution than they are to the country that institution should serve. And that's what happens. And I don't mean to point a finger at them. That's what happens. You know, you become a State Department official and you're within the State Department and you believe that your institution is more important than everything else that's going on out there. It's just the way it is. It's human nature. But they're not going to like this. And it's going to cause some ripples. It's going to cause a lot of headaches. It's going to cause it may even cause a lot of embarrassment for people who may or may not be alive. Families of those who may not be alive either. They may have been involved in this and may have done the wrong thing or may have made mistakes that they shouldn't have made. So it's going to be really interesting. But the weight of what he's done with this executive order is massive.
Not to be understated.
No, yeah, certainly not to be understated.
I mean, finally, some president actually, I feel like a lot of people have asked for this. And they've just always been hesitant. Well,
the other thing is, like I said, the United States Congress passed a law that every file from JFK assassination was supposed to be declassified, released to the public, I think by 1988 or 1987. Again, there's a date there. It was already supposed to happen when I was a child, right? When I was just, growing up. And it hasn't. And why? National security? What national security? The Cold War's over. That Cold War's over, at least. I assume we have different ways of gathering information. I'm sure whatever spies we had or double agents we had or undercover agents we had, I'm sure they're not alive anymore. I mean, I don't know what we're hurting.
Right.
But again, I'm on the outside looking in, and maybe I'll get an education when this all comes up. But again, that's not Lee Harvey Oswald. I don't care what the government's going to tell me. And again, like I said, I mean, wouldn't it be tragic if it all came out like, yeah, Lee Harvey Oswald didn't do it? Yeah, he was just a patsy. Imagine that.
That would be pretty tragic.
The grassy knoll. So many questions. By the way, why did so many people who saw things that didn't jive with the narrative that the government wanted about the JFK assassination, why did so many of them die in mysterious ways? Single car accidents, found dead on the side of the road, heart attacks from pure healthy people. It's out of nowhere. Just people self-deleting themselves with no prior history of depression or mental anguish. No inclination. So many.
It's normal.
So many.
It's a normal occurrence, Gringo.
Yeah.
Don't you know?
Yeah. So it's definitely it's long overdue, and I can't wait. So let's close some of these tabs. Oh boy, this is going to be fun. Well, actually, let's go to our news feed here first. I hope everybody enjoyed that. I hope that was a little bit more informative. This guy, Seattle judge. Well, this is the Attorney General of Washington. That's pictured. A judge in Seattle has temporarily blocked Trump's birthright citizenship order. Okay. We're going to get into this again, aren't we? We are.
Yeah.
You're going to argue with me again, aren't you?
No, not really. It's a fair argument you make.
Okay. First things first. As I read in this article, they make the same mistake a lot of people do. By saying things like, let me see if I can find the right one. Okay. All right. Trump's executive order stipulates that his administration will no longer recognize automatic citizenship for children born on U.S. soil to immigrant parents who are in the country without authorization, provided that neither parent is a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident. And then they say, birthright citizenship was established by the 14th Amendment in 1868. No, it wasn't. It absolutely was not. And if you think that, you're wrong. If you think that you don't understand the 14th Amendment, if you think that you don't know the history of the 14th Amendment, if you think that you don't even know who wrote the 14th Amendment, the 14th Amendment was not meant to establish birthright citizenship as a universal right for every man, woman, and child that may be born on U.S. soil. It was not. It was written by Congressman John Bingham of Ohio. Great state of Ohio. Congratulations, Ohio Buckeyes, by the way.
Congrats on Natty.
The reason why the 14th Amendment exists is because of something called the Dred Scott case. The Dred Scott case was about a runaway slave. Runaway slave that ended up in a free state. Well, the slave owners wanted the slave back. The free state said no. And the runaway slave said, no, I'm in a free state. I have rights. I'm a person. This case went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said, no, slaves are property, not people. Okay, even though that slave was born in the United States. So this 14th Amendment is written by John Bingham because after the Civil War and after the slaves were freed by the Civil Rights Act of 1866, there was nothing that was enforcing the states themselves to apply the law equally. So you got Reconstruction, you got Jim Crow laws, you got all this crap happening to people who were just freed from slavery. So the 14th Amendment was written to say, hey, they were born, this was for freed slaves. That's what this amendment was for. It wasn't for anybody that just decided to traipse across the border and have a child. That's not what this amendment was for. It's not what it was meant. It's not the intention behind it. It was meant to ensure that the states themselves did not ever take away the citizenship status of freed slaves from the South. That's it. It wasn't there as a universal declaration of birthright citizenship. In that case, President Trump is right, and history has his back on that. But, again, we have the famous case from 1898 that was argued in 1897 in front of the Supreme Court. But again, if you look at the details of that case, President Trump still has standing because the 14th Amendment states all people born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. Now, most people just read that first part, all people born and naturalized in the United States, blah, 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 are citizens there. They skip over and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Yes, freed slaves were the jurisdiction of us because we brought them here against their will. We took possession of them. Yes, we now owe them a debt and need to take care of them. They are subject to our jurisdiction and we need to take care of them. However, in 1898, case came up in front of the Supreme Court. It was the Wong Ark case. Chinese gentleman, 21 years old. He had his parents who were in the country. They weren't citizens. They weren't illegal immigrants. There was no such thing as an illegal immigrant back in the late 1800s. Right? It wasn't, first of all,
it wasn't really a concept.
It wasn't a concept, right? The idea of this immigration process that we have today didn't exist. But this guy's parents, two Chinese people, two Chinese citizens, subject to the jurisdiction of the Emperor of China, because that's where they were citizens of, came to the United States, the San Francisco area, built a home, started a business, lived their life, were well-liked members of the community, contributed, had a son who grew up in this country to be 21 years old. Now, you may say, well, okay, well, they're still not citizens, but still, if you look at the process of immigration then versus now, that's what people did. They just didn't bother to take the oath of citizenship. Anyways, so these two parents decide, we want to retire and live in China. We want to go back to the motherland. That's fine. So the son escorted him back. And then he comes back on a boat called the Gaelic, gets into San Francisco Harbor. And they say to him, they say to this Wong Ark, you can't enter the United States, because back then there was all sorts of Chinese anti-immigration laws. And they said, no, you can't come in. You're not a citizen. You have no right to be here. And he sued. He went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said, listen, he's subject to our jurisdiction. He's been here for 21 years. He's the only kid. We're the only country he knows. His parents were here for 20 years before that. They built a business. They were part of the community. You know, they tried to integrate into the fabric of society. This is way different than the birth tourism hotels that they have in New York, and San Francisco, and Chicago, and Boston, and Los Angeles, and San Diego, where people sneak in, they stay in a hotel for a couple of days, they give birth, and they say, give me my green card. Here's my child. That is what Trump's trying to end. If you just walked across the border from whatever country, you would say Chile, Venezuela, what else, or El Salvador, Guatemala, whatever. Snake your way up there. Cross the border illegally. Are you subject to the jurisdiction of are you a subject of the jurisdiction of the United States at that point? You've been in the country 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 2 days, 3 weeks? No. You've sworn no allegiance. You've not learned the language. You've not paid any taxes. You've not signed any documents. You
can't really prove jurisdiction.
You can't prove the first act you've done is to commit a crime, which is cross illegally,
which has gone against jurisdiction.
Right. Now, are you here for asylum? Well, okay, we can talk about asylum all you want. And yes, I think Trump's asylum ban is more likely to get turned over than this. But this is going to go to the Supreme Court, and I think there is absolutely a place that is going to. I think there are justices that are going to side with Trump. Whether the majority does or not, I don't know. Across the country, the filing states an estimated 153,000 children are born to 2 undocumented parents annually. That's probably a low estimate. And those are kids that go to the schools that you pay taxes for. You might say, well, the undocumented ones are paying taxes. How can they? They're undocumented. They have no documents to pay taxes.
You can't
pay taxes.
If they could, they'd be caught.
Yeah.
Kind of.
They're the ones that go.
It's like reading the IRS guidelines on filing for taxes. Like, please include bribes and stolen property.
Yeah.
No.
You know,
you want to get caught? Sure.
But it's the abuse of the system that Trump is trying to regulate, to stop. He's not trying to stop, hey, these 2 people immigrated to this country. Yeah, they're not citizens yet. They're not permanent residents, but they're in the system. They're paying their taxes. They're here legally. They've signed every document we want them to sign so far. Oh, they had a kid? Yeah, he's a citizen. I'm fine with that. Perfectly fine with that. Absolutely. But you know what? It begs the question. You know, there's going to be a lot of context to this. There's going to be a lot that's going to be given due credit for this. So we'll see. We'll see how President Trump and the Attorney General's office, the Department of Justice, responds to this.
I think they're going to use your argument. Yeah, like I said, the only problem is they're going to use how they've used it recently. And is that enough precedent to go against the argument provided?
Well,
because there's been a lot of amendments that were like written for a specific reason, intended for a certain purpose, which have now been used for ulterior purposes. And most of those interpretations are, legal in some regard. They have some standing, right?
Well, I agree with you on that. And that's the problem. This federal judge has the right to interpret the law the way he wants. He's a federal judge. Appointed by Ronald Reagan, by the way. The Supreme Court has the right to interpret the law the way they see fit, the way they think it should be applied, the way they think that again, it really depends on how you look at the law. And there's also, I'm someone who looks at the law and says, what does it say? What's the intent behind it? Why was that law written? And go from there. And any argument on the other side that says, well, you can't change the meaning of the law now. Sure I can. Because the other side wants to change the meaning of laws all the time.
Right.
Again, the best case scenario is to argue against progressive. This is the Second Amendment. What does the Second Amendment say? Let's
the right to bear arms.
Let's make sure we got this one correct. Let's look it up.
Let's read it specifically.
The Second Amendment.
Meanwhile, the dog is out cold in the corner with his pillow. We do wish we could show him on screen. One day.
A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, there's been so many people that want to... I mean, we have so many gun laws regulating the Second Amendment.
You can argue that they're being infringed upon.
Yeah, can I say I'm being infringed because you're
regulating what kind of arms I'm allowed to use?
But I'm okay.
But that makes sense. I'm fine with gun regulation. I think it's necessary.
I think regulation on this is fine. Just like I think regulation on birthright citizenship in the 14th Amendment is fine. Because it was meant for a certain thing. It was written for a certain purpose. And now being used for something else. I don't think that's right. I don't think a lot of people don't think it's right. I think the majority of the people who voted for President Trump don't think it's right. And am I shocked that he did that? No. He said he was going to. Nothing President Trump has done is a surprise. Everything he's done so far, he specifically stated that he would do. In the last 2 years, he specifically stated, while running for president, said, these are the things I'm going to do.
Yeah, this has pretty much always been on the table. So, it's like having your cards being shown to everyone.
Yeah.
At a poker table, and then for some reason they don't believe you. But then, you actually submit the cards to the dealer and you end up winning. They're like, what? Can you do that?
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
Here we have the 14th Amendment again. And Section 1 is where it is. Sections 2, 3, 4, and 5 deal with basically telling the states to go screw. You can't screw the citizenship status of these freed slaves. They're now free men and freed women. And they have every right that is apportioned to them as a citizen of the country. And states can't make any laws against it. And the states can't change it. States can't challenge it. Congress shall have the power to enforce by appropriate legislation the provisions of the article, which brings up a really interesting thing. Congress is thinking about passing a law that actually changes the definition of birthright citizenship to help sort of narrow it and help President Trump in his endeavor here with
the Supreme Court.
Yeah, the Supreme Court. So
how much time do they have?
This is going to go. This will hit the Supreme Court. I'd say late February, early March. They'll take this up because they're going to let the federal judge, they're going to let the federal circuit courts deal with it right now, and then it'll be an appeals court, and there'll be a federal appeals court, and then finally it's going to end up in the Supreme Court. They have no choice but to take it.
They have to take it. It's literally.
If the Supreme
Court,
there's
a definition of setting a precedent.
Yeah. If the Supreme Court balks at this, it really says a lot. But I think Chief Justice Roberts is going to take it and want to hear the case and want to make a statement on it. So, but speaking of the border, American hiker shot by suspected Mexican cartel while the cartel was on U.S. soil. Have you heard this one?
No, I did not.
So we had some hikers in southern San Diego County, and they were hiking, and then a couple of people in the distance, about 1,000 yards away, started yelling at them, waving them down, and the hikers they don't look like people we want to talk to. They're like, we're going to get kidnapped. Like, did we cross it? They thought maybe they crossed into Mexico or something. So they started turning and going the other way.
Mm-hmm.
So the two people that were waving there saying, come here, and finally they started speaking English, come here. They just started firing handguns at them and shot one of the tourists, was hit in the leg. Border Patrol was able to save the two of them. The two shooters have not been apprehended, but the area was flooded by Border Patrol Rapid Response Emergency Team.
We need more of those.
So
I feel like we need more of those guys.
There's been some statements made that are kind of interesting. So U.S. Border Patrol Chief Patrol Agent Gregory K. Bovino on Twitter said, American hikers strafed with gunfire and shot twice by suspected cartel terrorists in Jacumba, California. Cartels think they can bring, and this is what he says, cartels think they can bring their war here. Think again. Americans won't be intimidated. Our agents in BORTAC will confront these threats head on. So, yep. So, Border Patrol Tactical Units, BORTAC, and marksmen are saturating the area, is what we're being told. These cartels think, okay. Let this serve as a warning. The El Centro sector will not stand idly by, the agent wrote in a post. The safety of our citizens is not negotiable. Cartel terrorists have no place in our country, preying on the innocent. Enough is enough. Border Patrol officials are working to determine which cartel the gunmen belong to. So, I don't know. Do you think there was a phone call between President Trump and President Scheinbaum today?
I imagine there was at least some message sent. Maybe not a phone call.
Maybe not
the
them.
ambassador.
Maybe the ambassadors.
It was like, hey, get this, get your shit.
Because Rubio's on his, Marco Rubio, new Secretary of State, he's on his way to guess where?
Mexico.
Panama.
No, damn.
He's on his way to Panama.
I was hoping I'd be right.
That ought to be a real interesting conversation. We want our canal back, please. And I don't think he's going to use the word please. But anyways, what do you think of this? I mean, is this if this happens on a greater scale, let's say it's 10 cartel members who step onto American soil and start firing at U.S. citizens, does Trump use that as a reason to, or does it even need a reason at this point? Does he
not anymore. Well, this just adds fuel to the fire.
He doesn't care.
This is just extra support. This is like, you see what they're doing? Yeah. Shooting at Americans.
But again, they're not those people with the weapons. They're not representative of the Mexican government. So it's not like the Mexican government is declaring a war on the United States.
No, but they did say it's our problem.
They did say it's our problem.
And now we're...
So are these the definition of what George W. Bush and Dick Cheney called non-enemy combatants?
What, Mexico?
Cartel members.
Non-enemy...
Do they end up in Guantanamo Bay with ISIS and Al-Qaeda?
It might be fun. I don't think Guantanamo Bay is fun, but, in terms of, treating them equally, that'd be fun.
Do you think Trump brings back enhanced interrogation?
With these guys, I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't think he does.
Where is she? Where is the farm?
I think that's a bridge too far for him.
I wouldn't be surprised if he does it underneath the table.
But do you think how soon do you think we see action in the United States in a military sense? First of all, they're sending about 10,000 more troops to the U.S. border.
I think in late February, you see something happen in there. I think because you still have a war to solve in Ukraine, which you started to pivot towards a little bit, right?
Yeah.
You still have some other issues. You're building up the resources at the border at the same time. So you're just signing executive orders and waiting for things to get organized. I'm sure you've already debriefed the special forces that need to be debriefed. And I'm sure they're already working on a plan of some sort. They probably have targets in mind. Usually they take a couple weeks, months, almost like months even. They practice these certain
You got to think that they've been planning this for even before Trump became president.
Once he got elected, they probably got a head start of it.
Yeah.
So I imagine they started a week after November.
Yeah.
November, December, January. You give them most of February.
Or do you think it's not boots on the ground? It's just total drones.
They're gonna put boots on the ground first, and it's just gonna be drones because I think they're gonna try to do is get the fear in.
Okay.
Try to get kind of fear monger them. Be like, all right, you're gonna have to put guards everywhere now. You have to start really watching your hideouts, and then they're gonna just do drones because now they're gonna see people hiding out in areas, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna be able to detect that and be like, oh, look, these guys are all suspiciously in this mountain where this opioid drug is produced. Let's go bomb that.
Mm-hmm.
I won't be surprised if that's the strategy. I think you start big, and I think that's the intent. My question is, who do you use first? What forces do you do like a 3 at the same time? Kind of like Delta goes here, SEALs go down, and what would be the third you use? No, not berets. You would never use green berets in this situation.
No.
What would you use? Delta, SEALs,
Rangers.
Yeah, Rangers maybe.
I don't know. I'm not a
Rangers
military expert. I'm not a military expert.
I mean, imagine you wake up one day, especially here, you find out in Jalisco, which is almost next to the state of Mexico, right, which is pretty much where Mexico City is,
Yep.
had a raid, foreign raid.
Well, they've not made the official list.
I think that it takes time to designate them.
Well, I mean, he already put the.
Yeah, I think like update the website. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the Secretary of State. Okay. Once a target is identified, CT prepares a detailed administrative record, which is a compilation of information, typically including both classified and open source information, demonstrating that the statutory criteria for designation has been satisfied. If the Secretary of State, in consultation with the Attorney General and the Secretary of the Treasury, decides to make the designation, Congress is notified of the Secretary's intent to designate the organization and given 7 days to review the designation as the INA requires. Upon the expiration of the 7-day waiting period, and in the absence of congressional action to block the designation, notice of the designation is published in the Federal Register. Okay, we haven't yet had confirmation for the Attorney General or the Secretary of the Treasury. All we have is Secretary of State, so we have two people we have to wait on.
Are people being confirmed right now? No, still.
Pete Hegseth just got out of committee.
I know that.
And survived the test vote. John Ratcliffe just became the CIA director. Marco Rubio became the Secretary of State.
So he's signed these orders, but he needs these people to still be confirmed in order to kind of put the final signature. So in other words, these things are already pretty much done, set and done. They just need the Senate to kind of hurry up. Which, speaking of Senate, I know it's a little bit of a pivot from the topic. What do you think about the delay tactics on the voting and such?
I think it's just bullshit. Obama had 15 nominees within the first 30 days of his administration just fly through committee.
Right. And that was what, a Republican? No, was it a majority Senate Republican? Or was it a Republican House majority?
It was Republican House and Democratic Senate. But still, we didn't filibuster.
Right.
We didn't put up all these robots. We certainly didn't bring out like anonymous bullshit accusations of SA and
we have this email from totally reliable source over here.
So
saying they remember you 30 years ago at this bar you may have been in this general area.
So,
I think, but back to the cartels.
But what this does, once they're designated, the biggest thing isn't the military. The biggest thing is the money. Now the Treasury, the reason why it's the Secretary of the Treasury is because now the Treasury Department,
right,
along with intelligence,
can go after bank accounts.
Start going after the money.
Right, which I think the problem is going to be the Swiss banks. I can tell you.
I think we're done with dealing with the Swiss and their BS. I think we're just going to be like, I think we're just going to strong arm them.
You can't. I'll be honest. You can't really. I've been in that country. Yeah. I've been in a lot of countries. I've been in that country. I had a friend whose father was prominent with not a Swiss bank, but a Liechtenstein bank, and they have a very similar, if not a very strong system, maybe even stronger when it comes to those accounts. They've been pushed to the stories you hear. They've been pushed to like being like strong arm, but they don't give out the information because that is they live and die by those policies.
I don't think they're going to ask those
policies.
I don't even think they're going to ask those people. I think it's going to say to the people who work our computers and work our
hack into it,
and take it. Just go get it. I don't think they're going to. I just think that's it.
I think that's a dangerous move.
I think at this point, you're either again.
I'm not trying to protect the cartels. I'm just trying to
I think Trump's going to look at Switzerland and go, "You're not going to help me with this, and you're going to support these guys. Go screw." And that's just the way he is.
There's ways you can get it through legal means. Yeah. It's just it's a hassle because you have to prove that they have an account there.
I don't think he's going to give a crap.
Which I don't think they're going to do that.
I don't think he gives a crap. He could care less if anybody in Europe likes him.
No, I can tell you that that's the honest truth right there. Trust me, a lot of Europeans were very afraid when he got elected. Yep. You can imagine.
Yep.
It means you have to have a military now? The NATO talk is what scares them the most. I'll be 100% honest.
Well, it should, because that's their way of life, right? We pay their defense. They don't have to spend that money on defense, so they can spend it on their health care. They can spend it on their education.
Oh, no, it's ridiculous. I've been there. Some of the stuff they get for free. Now, granted, the Italian healthcare system's not great, but they have a really good public education system.
Sure.
You go to universities for free. Their taxes, though, are crazy in Italy, but other states in Europe are way better when it comes to that, and they have much more benefits. I mean, look at the Nordic states. I mean, they were the most at risk when it came to Russia right there.
Yeah.
Norway's got this huge oil supply. They don't really have a military. They just get protection. They rake in money.
But I mean, look at the
Well, Nordic. The Nordic is not EU, but still.
So,
I think they're NATO.
Just look at how lopsided the funding for the war in Ukraine has been.
Oh yeah, it's all us.
Europe, and so there needs to be some balance.
I honestly agree. It's not our continent. We want. I mean, granted, I love the continent, and I'd love to. I love the continent.
I want it to be safe. I want it to be free. I want it to be
right. People are nice there for the most part, but I can understand. You know,
not
living
Paris.
Living. Well, yeah. Well, not even just Paris. I just in general. I'll be honest. Living in Europe, the people you meet, you can understand quickly how 2 world wars started there.
There's a lot of conflict, or a lot of clashing of
identities and beliefs and cultures.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
it's so.
Well, it's funny because
it's so just ancient.
Well, it's ancient, but on top of that, some of it's newer. But on top of that, they'll still like be like, "Oh, you Americans are so divided amongst yourselves." I'm like, in comparison to you guys, no.
Yeah, no. But no, it's because out of America, all you hear is the extreme right and extreme left, and maybe a little bit on extreme right, extreme left, and then maybe a little bit here. But the middle, the general middle, where people agree on 90% of the stuff together, you never hear from this. It's
because we're living on a good life.
Yeah, as Nixon said, it's the great silent majority.
You know, I've told you about my personal experiences there.
Yeah,
with I was like, the first instance where I did kind of actually have what would you call it, a racism?
You were picked out of a crowd and a group based off of your physical characteristics.
Sure, exactly.
That's what happened. Yes.
Yes.
Because all your other friends were a lot paler.
No. We're not talking about Egypt. I'm talking about walking the streets of Italy. I got called a name.
Yeah, because your friends were paler and you weren't.
No, I wasn't with friends. I was by myself.
Oh, you were by yourself?
I was by myself. I'm not talking about Egypt. I'm talking about Rome.
Oh, you throw down?
No, some Nona just called me something. I was like, what does this mean? And they're like, they called you, and it's like literally monkey. I was like, what? It's like, what?
Ooh, that's rough.
I was like, crazy.
I mean, like I said, I get called names here because of my skin, because I'm light skinned. But
that's not like mean.
But you get
called gringo.
I know it's not mean. I know it's not mean, but I know it's not exactly the nicest.
There they mean
but
it. They were serious.
But here I can be like, okay, yeah, I gotta get it. We kind of took half your country, and we had in a war that we shouldn't have started in the first place.
Yeah, and the gold, and the oil,
and all the smallpox from Europe. I get it. Okay, go ahead and call me gringo. I don't care.
And they're not even mean about it.
No. I've embraced it, as you can tell.
Europe, truly the most interesting continent in the world. Yeah. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I think Europe is interesting, absolutely, but
love them. It's great. It's nice. It's just, again, it's ironic because I never had any of that happen to me in the U.S. So,
let's get back to the U.S. and immigration. So Boston was fun today.
What happened today?
Well, ICE started.
They just started in Boston.
Well,
Boston. In Boston, dude. Boston. Dude, I'll tell you this. I bet there were a lot of immigrants that are thinking, no way they start in this city. They're looking at New York, L.A.,
knock,
Chicago.
So what happened?
Houston.
They have a target list. And this is what Holman said. They have a target list of people who are criminal. They want the criminals, the people who have been convicted of crimes and things like that. They want the dangerous people off the streets. People who have red notices. And if you don't know what a red notice is, that's when another foreign government and specifically also Interpol, the international police, put out these things called red notices that say, if you see this person, arrest this person for us, please, because they're highly dangerous.
And they need to go.
Yep. So one of the members that were arrested in Boston was a Haitian gang member. He was arrested for murder and the R word, which I won't say, even though it's spelled out there. In Boston, he's being cuffed and he's put in the SUV. He's sticking his head out the window and yelling, "F Trump, F Trump. Biden forever. Thank you, Joe Biden. Thank you, Obama. Thank you for letting me do what I do." And I'm like,
that's not a good endorsement.
It's not an endorsement. And
I want a political ad of
so
that.
Basically what you're saying is I made the right choice with my vote. So immigration and customs enforcement officers hit the ground running this week, arresting multiple violent offenders in sanctuary cities. That's on purpose, by the way, including a hostile Haitian alleged gang member with a lengthy rap sheet.
Alleged gang member?
Well, the guy's been arrested. The guy was arrested and convicted of 17 different violent crimes.
Don't worry, he's alleged.
No. He's a alleged gang member. No, he has a lengthy. He has 17 convictions.
That's my point. He's definitely a gang member. But it's okay. He's allegedly a gang member. He might be innocent.
ICE officers in Boston made 8 noteworthy arrests, including multiple MS-13 gang members, murder, and R suspects, and the Haitian alleged gang member with at least 17 recent convictions. There was at least one collateral arrest where ICE took an illegal immigrant who wasn't their initial target, but took him into custody, with the arrest in Boston being of an MS-13 gang member. So basically, if they find the violent offender that they're looking for to kick out, and they happen to be living with somebody who else is just illegal but not a violent person, but they're illegal, so they still committed a crime. So it's like
2 for 1.
It's like a 2 for 1.
2 for 1. It's like there's a sale.
All right. There's our Haitian immigrant right there. No, not that one. You gotta wait for this. You gotta wait for it because
I was saying that looks a little white.
Yeah, no,
a little delayed here.
Yeah, he was screaming. This video, you can get the video. I don't put the video because I don't want to get copyrighted.
I really want to watch it.
He was screaming out the window, F Trump.
You know, I'm gonna be honest.
There he is.
I'm gonna be honest. Oh god, that guy.
Yeah.
That's very angry.
And ICE in Boston was arresting one illegal immigrant, Fox News reported hearing a woman yell out, "Thank you," to the agents. Some of the arrests were also red notices fulfilling requests from other law enforcement agencies to find and arrest a suspect. So yeah, they're when we find Border Czar says, when we find the bad guy, there's probably others that are in the United States illegally. They may not be a criminal priority, but we're not walking away from them. He said the arrest comes. So there's like 460, almost 500 arrests that ICE did yesterday, last night, as they continue.
You know, Gringo, usually ask me.
Boston, Denver, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Seattle, Washington, D.C., and Miami.
Gringo, real quick, before you continue, usually you ask me the questions about what do you think? I know I'm also a native of Massachusetts, but and I do kind of claim Boston, right, as always. But you actually worked in Boston, and you were there longer than me. What do you think, Gringo?
They got a lot of work to do.
What do you think?
They got a lot of work to do.
Also, are you surprised about the lady saying thank you?
No, I'm not.
One, Boston, two, the situation.
No, I'm not. I'm not surprised. I think Boston is a very liberal city, and that thank you out the window might be a rarity or not as commonplace as people might want to think. But here's the thing. People. The difference in liberalism in California, and difference in liberalism in Massachusetts or New England. In California, liberalism is it's the way of life, man. It's like, it's feelings and emotions and, it's save the fish and, all that stuff. It's very hippie-ish. It's a philosophy. It's a feel-good way of life.
It's a way of life.
Okay? In New England, liberalism is an institution.
It's a policy.
It's the law. It's the method in which you conduct your life, or you don't belong there, or you're going to have a hard time there. You're not going to like it there. You're not going to really enjoy it there.
Especially if you're a Yankee fan.
Stay out of there. That's the difference between it. So it's like, there's going to be a lot of pushback. Well, so far there's no pushback. I think there's going to continue to be pushback.
This is fine. I don't think you should have it. If you come out of the city and say we don't support ICE taking red notice people, you got a problem. You got a problem.
The city of Boston, the police, the local police, the state police, they all know who these people are. They all know where they are.
Right.
But because they're sanctuary cities and sanctuary states,
they can't request papers.
They cannot honor ICE requests for detainers. They cannot honor all that stuff. So it's really
it's rough.
It's rough. And even so, the state police and the local police, even if you have officers that want to do the right thing, they don't, because they know, like, I don't want to get in political trouble. I don't want to, hurt my career because, I did something that made something look politically bad for somebody who's in power. And that's the problem. So,
and that is a problem. And you should never let politics and the people, people's lives and future careers hinder the execution of law.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
What do you think of the
I want to see how they do in Miami.
Well,
Miami, I think, is a lot better.
Here's an article from the Washington Post. I think Miami it'll be a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Schools brace for immigration arrest. Try to reassure terrified parents. So
schools,
sure.
What?
There's illegal.
Sure, I get that, but like, that's not exactly.
Why? Why is a school so hallowed that we can allow criminals there?
Well, that one, but also two.
I'm not talking about
if you're trying
I'm talking like they're afraid that like as schools letting out and kids are being picked up by their parents. If the parents are illegal, they're going to get arrested. The police are going to be there waiting for them. But why is school such a hallowed ground that we can allow that? People go, I'm scared. I will go to pick up my children, and they will be there taking parents from the schools. An undocumented Guatemalan mother of two who lives in Los Angeles said to an interviewer.
And undocumented. Yeah. I mean, that seems like a you problem at that point. No offense. Yeah. I don't mean to be mean. It's just like,
yeah,
if
you're undocumented, are you paying the taxes for the
to
school?
Go to the school? Even? Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure
your kid's nice. I hope your kid's. If he isn't, then I want you out of the country.
Unfortunately, you're teaching your kid a bad lesson. It's okay to break the law. Kids will be coming home or waiting at school for parents, she said, but they will be gone.
I wonder if it's legal for okay, imagine you go to pick up your kid, but you see next to your kid standing are like ICE agents.
Yep.
Do you still pick up your kid, or do you run? That's a decision.
I think you got to run, and you got to send somebody else to go get your kids for you.
Well, no, because if your kid's illegal,
well, they're not going to take the kid.
They can.
They can.
They put him into custody. They won't give him back.
They might. Who knows? There's a whole bunch of kids where their only chance in life is to get a great education. Former Education Secretary Arne Duncan, a Democrat, said in an event this week hosted by the Brookings Institution. If, because of the fear and the hatred, their parents decide to keep them safe and not send them to school, devastating consequences. Again, not my problem.
Are they? I feel terrible asking this because
our schools are falling apart.
I'm empathetic to kids and their struggles because they're kids. They're innocent for the most part, if not at all.
Sure, and the villain in this is still the parents. The
parents are villains for dragging the kids through this, especially when they're young. Is in the end they get punished the most.
Yeah, but here's the thing, children in the United States have been legally entitled to a free education regardless of their immigration status since the 1982 Supreme Court decision in Plyer versus Doe. So, again, is this unfounded? Now, there's somewhere in this article where they basically say, hey, we're, schools and things like that, churches, these are no longer... Like they used to be hands off. Like they used to tell ICE agents, "Listen, you're gonna go on raids. Don't do it at a school. Don't do it in these, separate, sensitive places."
Well, because
Yeah, but now they said, "No, don't worry about it. Go do your job."
The school said this.
No. The government said this to the ICE agents.
Oh, okay.
Say, okay, don't worry about the sensitive areas. You're gonna traumatize a kid, okay? But by watching them because they're gonna watch their parents get taken away. So it's all it is it's optics. It's optics. I think.
Well, it's no offense. It's the perfect place.
Yeah,
because you know the kid's going to be there, and you know the parents are going to be there. You don't have to separate the families. They're all there, unless the parents see you beforehand and run and abandon the kid. Yeah. Which in that case just tells you what kind of parent they are.
Yeah,
because I feel like any parent, especially if they know that's the situation, will go and be like, all right, let me park the car and this is it.
But like I said, it's I think they're going to avoid doing that.
I think they'll try the best.
So what do you think about U.S. border agents told to summarily deport migrants without granting asylum hearings under Trump edict? He's gotten rid of asylum.
Right.
Would we like to talk about asylum? Because here's where I think he loses.
Well, okay. The thing is, a lot of people can claim asylum for a lot of reasons, and because they're getting processed for asylum, they get into the country.
Okay,
that's the problem.
There's 3 asylum processes.
Right.
First is the USCIS, which is citizenship.
Citizenship
to
and
obtain
services. I actually applied. Yeah. I think to a position there, if I'm not mistaken.
To obtain asylum through the affirmative asylum process, you must be physically present in the United States. You may apply for asylum regardless of how you arrived in the United States or your current immigration status. So you can be an illegal immigrant, but still apply for asylum. You must apply for asylum within 1 year of the date of your last arrival in the U.S., unless you can show changed circumstances or you filed a reasonable amount of time given those circumstances. All right? If your case is not approved and you do not have legal immigration status, we will issue a Form I-862, a notice to appear, and refer your case to the immigration judge with the Department of Justice. So you still have a chance to go there. All right. Next, you have asylum merits. So that's one place. So that's the regular asylum process. Then there's the merit interview with U.S. after a positive, credible fear determination. If you are placed in expedited removal proceedings and indicate an intention to apply for asylum, express a fear of prosecution or torture, or express a fear of return to your country, you will be referred to the USCIS for a credible fear screening. And for more information, visit the credible fear screenings page, which we will. Because it isn't easy just to say
it's not super easy, but it is kind of like simple to be like, as long as you show a credible threat in your life, like as if the cartel's after you.
And then is the defensive application for asylum occurs when you request asylum as a defense against removal from the United States. Basically, it's crying. It's like your last 6 years, you're going to get deported. No, asylum. And it's like, okay, we'll refer you to the judge and we'll see. And if you
that process is kind of broken. Because like you could be, because that part of the process, I understand why they have it in there, but I think it should be expanded upon. Mm-hmm. Like especially like red notices. Like I feel like that should go before GOAT, unless it's like a clear like, oh, you're granted a red notice because you're like a political enemy. But I don't think they would even grant a red notice on Interpol for that, right? Interpol's separate.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. So that's your filter anyway. So I think if you're a red notice, this should not apply to you. Because clearly you did something wrong.
It's really interesting. And when you try to read this stuff, it's really difficult to kind of.
Oh, it's not easy to understand.
I mean, this is
big words, weird.
Not just big words. It's just there's so many. It's like trying to untangle a knot of hair.
Right. That's why. I mean, it's not the big words, but it's just the way they word everything. Because it leaves a lot either ambiguous or it's like, oh, if you read this, but then you read this, it will make you believe this. But then this section changes that completely.
I'm kind of like, what are the questions? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Why will asylum offices conduct credible fear interviews? Asylum offices conduct interviews when you are subject to expedited removal and you tell a U.S. Customs and Border Protection or ICE you intend to apply, you have fear. Okay. What is a credible fear of persecution? A credible fear of persecution is a significant possibility that you can establish in an asylum merits interview before an asylum officer or in proceedings before an immigration judge that you have been persecuted or have a well-founded fear of persecution on account of your race, religion, nationality, membership in a particular social group, or political opinion if returned to your country.
But actually, now this is interesting. What do we consider?
Okay, well, let's walk through something. Let's say something.
Well, I mean, I said like, okay, a simple thing is like the cartel's after me because I said something bad about them on the newspaper as a journalist. Granted asylum. Understandable.
No. Okay, show me the article.
Right, exactly. They show you the article.
You got to prove it, right?
Exactly, they prove it. Let's say in this one they prove it. It's understandable. Fine.
Well, of course, maybe I can look at you and go, well, you said something bad. You're an idiot, so see you later. Yeah,
so that's pretty harsh.
That's
pretty much you're signing a death warrant at that point.
Let's say this. Okay.
What about now? My question is, because now Trump signed the male female, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say because you identify as a social group, you feel like as if you haven't been there's no credible threat yet, but you fear persecution in another country.
Well, I think if you're a member of the LGBTQ community, I feel like there are lots of regions in the world where if you just say, listen, I'm a member of the LGBTQ community. Like if you're from the Middle East, most of those countries, you have a credible fear.
Right.
Because the thing that they do with you is they tie your hands, blindfold you, and walk you off the top of a building, which is absolutely barbaric.
Yes, barbaric. Absolutely. But I mean, like, okay, but let's say not one of those countries.
But I guess there's not any specific... What I'm looking for is the specific questions an asylum officer would ask.
They don't have those published. Because they don't want people practicing for it. Because then if everyone could practice for it, imagine you can have people fake it, I bet. At least that's what I would assume.
Here, we can schedule one. Forms of identification, interpreters, dependents. Like there's no, like you would think that,
surely they don't have the questions posted. Because if they do, I feel like that's bad.
If you're scheduled for an asylum merits interview, but you have an attorney or accredited representative, telephone to pursue remotely. Okay. All right. So they have Arlington, Virginia, Boston, Chicago, Houston, Los Angeles, Miami, New Orleans, New York, Newark, New Jersey, another Newark, New Jersey, San Francisco, and Tampa for asylum offices. What to expect? Okay, what to expect at your asylum merits review or interview?
Questions. Lots of questions. Who you are, why you're here, what you're running from.
What is this? An asylum officer will conduct the asylum merits interview with a non-adversarial manner. The asylum officer will verify your identity and the identity of any spouse or child included in your application and ask you basic biographical questions and the reasons you're applying for asylum, withholding of removal, or CAT or CAT protection. The asylum officer will also ask you questions to determine if you are barred from asylum, statutory withholding of removal, or withholding of removal under CAT. For more information on the bars to asylum, please visit the asylum bars page. This is weird. What is an asylum bar? We're going to go there in a second.
Asylum bar? Is that where I can get like an old-fashioned?
Failure to appear for your merit interview, rescheduling your interview, background and security checks, decisions, permission to work, bringing your family, fine. Okay, so no questions. Like I want to know, like, okay, I'm an asylum officer. What's my script?
You don't get that on there. No, Gringo. Why would Gringo? Look at me, Gringo. Look off the screen. Look at me. If you could practice for these questions, do you realize how terrible that is of a security risk? You just get a hell of an actor or get some acting classes and you really sell the role. Don't want to prepare them for questions.
I guess I just want to know.
You just want to know. You just want to know.
You could be barred from a grant of asylum if we find that you ordered, incited, assisted, or otherwise participated in the persecution of any person on account of race, religion, nationality, membership in a particular social group, or political opinion.
Fine, so if you're un-American.
That's good. We don't want you here.
Yeah.
Were convicted of a particularly serious crime, such that you were in danger, such that you were a danger to the United States. Good. So the people ICE is arresting, they're not subject to asylum. Committed a serious non-political crime outside of the United States. Pose a danger to the security of the United States. Have been firmly resettled in another country before arriving to the United States. You will also be barred from receiving asylum if you're inadmissible because you have engaged in terror activity, are engaged in or likely to engage after entry in terror activity.
How do you even find that out in the interview? Think about leaking it with my boys.
I'm wearing this thing right here. If I wore this in my interview, I'd be like, you're not getting in. All right.
No, the first thing they do is I test for GSR.
Wait, are a representative of a foreign terror organization. Like, how do they determine that? They just unless they have your name on file, they just ask, so listen, my name's... when was the last time you were at an ISIS meeting? You know, it's like, you're not going to answer that.
You'd be like, 3 weeks ago, of course. I mean...
Have persuaded others to support activity or an organization. Have received military-type training from or on behalf of any organization that at the time the training was received was a terror organization. Are the spouse or child of an individual who is inadmissible for any of the above within the last 5 years. Which that last one is interesting because I believe there are children of Osama bin Laden that went to school in the United States.
They live in the U.S.
They live in the U.S.
They lived in the U.S. A lot of they had a family that actually got moved. I think the story is they found out who did it and they're like, you can't stay in the U.S.
Was this page helpful? Yes.
It was kind of helpful, yeah.
Submit feedback. Yeah.
They're probably going to think you're an actual person looking for asylum because they're going to see this was submitted from Mexico.
Yeah, well, when I went to your mother to her hearing for her permanent residency card, right? They had to interview all of us, right? So you're a baby.
Did it ask me questions?
No.
How old are you?
I was literally holding you.
Did you poop?
Yeah, I was literally holding
you. Is it full or is it empty?
But we had been married for 10 years. The process was so slow and so backed up.
Oh, right.
So we're not 10 years. It was 6 years. Yeah, 6 years. Right.
Was I with you guys?
Yeah, you were with us. You were little. You were tiny. You were tiny.
I was 5.
But you were tiny. You didn't grow. You were that tall.
I didn't grow for the longest time. Right? You know this.
Literally, you were always on my shoulders or something like that. And so your brother was there too. Your older brother, and the officer is interviewing us, and he's like, so you've been married how long? We're like 6 years. All right. And he's kind of like, what? Yeah, we have a house together. Here's our tax forms, pay our taxes. These are our 2 children and whatnot. And and he's looking at us, goes, what the hell? You had 6 years, and you're looking at me, 6 years? Why you should have pushed it. You should have, he can't believe it took so long. And he's like, this is the easiest interview ever because you realize, okay, we're sitting there. We look like we're holding, your mother and I are holding. We always hold hands, before we walk in. They see that I gave your mother a kiss. whatnot, and stuff like that.
Oh, you see two. I think that sold it was the two kids right
two
there.
Kids, right?
No, it was
Here's our marriage license.
No, it was the holding the hands that sold it.
Well,
no,
seriously though. There are stories of couples that go in there, no kids, whatnot, but they're not really a couple. They don't hold hands. Okay, that's a sign. They look for and they'll ask questions like, okay, what color is your wife's favorite? What's your favorite color? Or your wife's underwear? Something weird like that, or like what flavor cake does she like? Does she like chocolate or vanilla? Like they'll ask all.
Have they ever asked me what's like my wife's favorite color? I don't have a wife, but I don't think I'd know. I'd be
purple.
Actually,
purple
it's not.
and black.
It's not.
Purple and black and gray.
Black is good. Black is good.
Black is the absence color, but when I ask her for like a color it's not black.
Oh, she go gray, beige, mustard yellow, and like purple.
She likes purple.
Dude, she does like purple, but it's like in and out now.
It's like number 3 on the list, but like the first time like we talked about color, she's like purple.
That's what I thought too. I said this to her.
She loves chocolate cake.
I said this.
The underwear question varies.
Wow. Gringo, I don't need this cock. Don't need to know these details.
But it's so funny because they're like the officer's looking at us like,
do I even ask you questions?
I'm not even gonna ask you. Just stamp the thing. We're all like worried. Like she and I are like all nervous going in. Like, oh, please, okay, because we really wanted to get her card. She wouldn't have to worry about ever anything. She was there legally, and she, we paid all our taxes. She had never done anything wrong. She never even got a speeding ticket. She never got nothing. Right.
Right.
And so they're like, all right, you get the hell out of here. But they see some fraudulent shit. So
I think the kid sold it. I think the kid sold it. He was like, how long?
If it wasn't for you, your mom wouldn't have got a resident. Yeah. But then she got her citizenship, and that went easy. The only thing is because it was during the pandemic, everything was backed up. Otherwise, she would have had it way before then. And
well, she also took a long time to apply for it, right?
Yeah. She was like, whatever.
Yeah, she was
just happy with the residency.
No need.
And then
it's good enough.
Hey, need help with the U.S. Citizen and Immigration Services? Chat with Emma right now. Hi, Emma.
Emma's like, you're not allowed in here. Go home.
Go home. All right.
Have you seen the Spanish White House page?
No.
It's no longer up apparently, and the message, the button you click to go to the American page just says, because nobody says home, right? Yeah. It says go home.
No.
Yeah, apparently.
It does not.
Look up White House Spanish page.
Get out of here. You're lying.
I saw this picture. I hope someone...
That's not...
But I would laugh. It says go home, actually.
It does not. Oh, shit.
It does?
It doesn't say that. He shut it down.
But
Trump administration shuts down the White House Spanish language page.
Right, and it says go home. It says
go
home.
I think it says error 404.
No. If you are on the homepage of it, it says 404.
Go to homepage.
It says go home.
No, it says 404, page not found. Go to homepage, the White House. That's what it says.
Oh, it used to say go home. Just go home. They changed that real quick.
Oh, Jesus.
Here, let me...
No, they didn't. P. Diddy keeps coming up. Please, I don't want to.
Hey, what kind of research?
Get out of there.
Yeah, this was the original. It says go home.
That's got to be made up.
That's from the news.
I can't. You gotta brighten that thing, dude. You got to make things so dark. Thank you.
KUTV. It's like a CBS. This is go home. Now they changed it to this, which is what you see. But it said go home. Apparently, it said go home.
The Spanish version of White House website has vanished again.
Yeah.
The Spanish language website also vanished at the start of President Trump's first term. The page not found. Go to homepage.
There are reels made of this, of people reacting to the go home part. It says go home. It said go home. Dude, imagine you're a Spanish citizen.
Get the hell out of here!
Not a Spanish citizen, but a citizen of any country that speaks Spanish. And you just want to learn about the White House.
You gotta think.
And you just see the go home. Dreams crushed. They really had to change it.
What the hell?
They really had to change it. Here. This is real. These are people who found it. And you were just tweeting it because it was just too funny.
Wow.
You want the Spanish version of the White House website? Go home. Go home.
That's wild.
I love how wild it is because it's just so hilarious.
KUTV, yeah, there it is.
It's wrong. It's wrong in a way.
That's
but it's
so
funny.
bad.
It's so funny. I love comedy, and that's comedic. I want that person to get a raise.
No,
so bad.
That's
funny.
That's just
that's kind of
that's
funny.
just mean spirited.
It's mean, but it's funny.
Okay, it's a little funny, but it's a little mean spirited.
Imagine
your mother's main language is Spanish.
Imagine some.
You speak Spanish.
I know. But imagine some poor kid is like, I really want to move, and maybe one day work in the White House. Let me look up my favorite page, but it's in Spanish now, and they just see go home.
The button was later updated to say go to homepage.
I think
maybe it was just a typo. Typo.
No. Some people got upset and thought this is wrong, and other people were like me and thought this is funny. It's wrong, but it's funny. Go home is wild. It's not even in Spanish too. Which makes it worse. A Spanish speaker had to probably be like, what does that say? Google, please translate.
I think that's a little welcome to today's.
It probably said ir a casa and they're like, why?
Yeah.
Why me? You didn't believe me. You thought I was lying.
I thought it was a meme. I thought
it was an edit.
I thought someone might have made it up.
No.
Does anybody ask him about this yet? Like, I can't wait for that question.
I want someone to. So bad.
He's going to be like, yeah, whatever.
He's like, they should.
Wow. Okay.
Oh my God. For a moment, you made me feel sad because it made me think it was like not real.
I didn't think it was real.
And then it was,
all right.
Certified.
Wow.
Just like an election.
Wow. It's blowing my mind. Okay. Well, we're out of political topics right now, but we have an entertainment/political topic.
Diddy.
No, it's not Diddy.
Oh.
It's the Oscars. The nominees are out. And yes.
I used to like the Oscars because I think the award was prestigious. It still is somewhat a prestigious award.
This is going to be the end of Hollywood.
Okay.
Right here. This is it. This is where Hollywood loses all credibility. And if they thought it was going to get better, it's not.
When did they have credibility?
They used to.
They used to
when I was little. Used to have some credibility as artists and whatnot. But I told you, the anti-Trump transgender Oscars are coming. And what happened? Who got the most nominations? Amelia Perez.
They haven't won yet. Remember,
it's won everything else.
We have to make a bet. We said we're going to make a bet about this. Also, I will take you for your dinner. I offered earlier this week, but you said no next week.
Okay, double or nothing.
No,
if I win this, I get 2 dinners, or if I don't win this, you get your hat.
No. We're just not double or nothing. I want on the dinner in the first.
All right.
bet.
Well,
we'll do the same bet again. For you, you get another dinner. For me, I get a hat. So if you win,
okay.
If you win, you get 2 dinners.
Double or nothing.
Yeah, but double or nothing means like if I win, you don't get your dinner from before. I'm still honoring the dinner.
And I'm okay with that.
No, I don't want to do that.
All right.
So it's a new bet.
All right.
So you have the
Amelia Perez wins Best Picture and Carla Sofia Gascon, formerly Juan Carlos Gascon because born a male, will win Best Actress.
Also, Gringo, I'm playing the role of House here. All right, you got to hit all of them.
Am I doing? So those are my 2.
Those are your only 2.
Best Picture, Best Actress. Yeah, I think those are 2 pretty big ones.
I feel like that's I want to say
because as a result of Trump being nominated, as a result of his executive orders, as a result of his
why not 3
common sense approach to biology and gender and all that, the Oscars have decided to vote Amelia Perez and give it 13 nominations, making it the foreign movie with the most nominations of all time over
Gringo.
Roma, over Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or Hidden Crouching Dragon, whatever.
Roma was good.
Roma was great. So was Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Those are 2 incredible films. Amelia Perez doesn't come close to the greatness of those 2 films. It's a bad film. It's a film, again, if you don't know what Amelia Perez is, it's on Netflix. It's a French-made film. It's a foreign film. It's winning all the awards. What it is Amelia Perez is a drug lord, a cartel leader in Mexico, responsible for murder, death, kidnappings, disappearances, poisoning of countries, all that.
You can watch the review at this point. It's
you can watch my review on it.
You should watch the review.
But
you should.
But the drug cartel leader is transgender. And the only reason he became a cartel leader was to hide his transgender tendencies.
There's so many ways better.
So it's okay. It's okay that he murdered, and it's okay that he killed, and it's okay that he poisons society with drugs. It's okay that he destroys families left and right at the rate of thousands. So what is he? He goes and has his transgender. Now it's a musical, by the way, so they sing through a lot of the transgenderness. There's a nice song, and in the transgender clinic when we're learning about shaving Adam's apples and things like that. It's wonderful.
It's your favorite.
It's my favorite song of the whole musical, right?
Sing it with me.
So the person disappears, and they get their change, their operation, and they come back as Amelia Perez. They've abandoned their wife and their 2 children. All right. And then after 4 years, decides, I miss my family, so I'm going to move back to Mexico and have them lied to again, thinking that their father and their husband is dead, lied to again that I'm Auntie Amelia, distant aunt, and have the kids and the wife come. And unfortunately...
Which there's nothing wrong with that at all.
There's nothing wrong with that at all. So Amelia Perez decides, you know what? I was a bad person. I think this time around while I'm in Mexico, I'm going to help all the families who are missing all their loved ones, missing their husbands, missing their mothers, missing their daughters, missing their sons that have all been disappeared.
All because of me.
All because of me, and dumped into mass graves and horrible deaths. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create this nonprofit organization. I can't make this shit up. And I'm going to help them find the bodies of their loved ones to give them closure, and then I'll hug them and console them.
It sounds like a money laundering scheme at this point.
And become a media darling and become a humanitarian and receive awards. It's literally, they give her an award while she scolds the government of Mexico for not doing enough to help these people whose families disappeared, that she was responsible for their deaths anyways.
And also, contributing to the problem of the Mexican government by probably paying off corrupt officials.
So then what happens? Amelia Perez.
But it's okay. Wait. But it's okay.
It's okay because
she's changed.
She's changed because
in 2 ways.
Because it's society's fault. They remind you of that multiple times. It's society's fault that she committed all these crimes because we wouldn't accept her as a child wanting to be a girl because she wanted to be a girl from the minute.
This is fear-mongering.
From the minute she could think, her first thought as a baby, she wanted to be a girl. Literally in the movie
that's like threatening gun violence in the future because some kid.
I'm not done yet though. So she takes a lesbian lover while she's living with her ex-wife. Not even ex-wife. I don't know if you call it ex-wife. The wife that played by Selena Gomez that thinks that she's dead with kids.
So straight with extra steps.
Yes, basically.
Because if you're...
Well, she's not. She's just Auntie Amelia.
Right. But hear me out. She's got a lesbian lover.
Yep.
But she was originally a man.
Yes.
But she likes women.
Yep. But she doesn't tell her lover anything about her past, like that she used to be a man or anything like that. She doesn't come out and say anything, right? So she's upset that Selena Gomez's character, the ex-wife or the wife that she left because she wanted to become a woman, falls in love with another man. She wants to keep the kids. They're my kids. You're not taking my kids. I'm like, you abandoned them for 4 years so you can go cut off your weebie, all right, and go live your life. You have no right to.
Yeah.
So she tries to intimidate the boyfriend, the new man, to leave by beating him, by giving him money to disappear and never come back again. That gets into a gun battle between everybody. She cuts off the money from the kids. Anyways, she ends up dying. The wife ends up dying. The boyfriend ends up dying.
These poor kids.
Right? The kids are left with nothing. And what happens? Well, the final scene is the lesbian lover, along with a lot of extras, walking the streets of Mexico. Now, none of those people are Mexican, by the way. There's only one. This is a movie that takes place in Mexico, and only one person in the whole cast is Mexican, and it happens to be the lesbian lover. So, yay, diversity or representation. I mean, okay.
Which is not diversity or representation.
So, what happens is they replace the image of Guadalupe, or otherwise known as the Virgin Mary, the most renowned and revered religious figure in all of Mexico, one of the most Catholic countries in the world. They replace that statue and walk down parading a statue of Amelia Perez as the new religious icon of Mexico. And they're wondering why the country of Mexico is very upset about this. But that is what's going to win Best Picture. That is what's going to, and then she's been nominated for Best Actress. Now, a lot of people here say Zendaya was snubbed. Zendaya deserved a nomination for the movie Challengers. Okay, well, she wasn't snubbed. She was kicked off. She could have gotten it because only 4 women are actually nominated for Best Actress. Carla Sofia Gascon is a transgender. She's not a woman. She's a biological male. So she took the place of a woman's.
So, listen,
so Zendaya could have had that nomination.
Gringo. Back at it again. Men, we do it better.
We do it better.
We do it better.
We just do it better.
We just do it better.
We do it better.
Can't stop winning.
We can't stop it. We play women better. I mean, women out there. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, shoot. We do everything better. Everything. Play volleyball. It's great. It's great.
Granted, it's unfair, but, we win still.
I mean, shoot. I mean, it's awesome.
Dude, that's insane.
Amelia Perez leads the 2025 Oscar nominations were revealed Thursday morning. The film scored 13 noms, like I said, surpassing previous record holders of 10, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and Roma. Following Amelia Perez were The Brutalist and Wicked, which tied with 10 nominations apiece, and A Complete Unknown and Conclave followed with 8 mentions each. All 5 of those films will compete for Best Picture with Anora, Dune Part 2, which either that or Wicked should win Best Picture for the year, by the way, not Amelia. Press. I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, and The Substance. Okay, let's get to some of these nominations. Let's see here. Where are we? Here we go. So we went over Best Picture. Who should win? Dune Part 2 should win. Hands down. Talk about a cinematic experience.
Gringo.
But what will win? Emilia Perez.
No.
Emilia Perez is going to win.
Well, Gringo, actually, you said they have 13 nominations. You're only going with 2. Go 3 at least.
Okay, hold on.
Go 3 here at least. If there's a feasible one. If the other ones seem like long shots, and he's like really the only 2 ones.
Okay.
We'll decide. We'll read through the nominations first, and we'll see.
All right. Directing, Jacques Audiard.
If he wins,
writer for Emilia Perez.
If he wins, I will be so upset.
Sean Baker.
That upsets me more.
He actually came to Mexico, and right before the premiere of Emilia Perez in this country, he actually apologized. Too little, too late. You knew what you were doing. You wanted the controversy. You wanted to shit over a religion. You wanted to shit all over a country that did nothing wrong to you because you're a Frenchman.
We won 2 wars against. I'm pretty sure.
They came here to invade us.
I know.
So they deserve to get their ass kicked.
Me.
Well, I'm married to you. I'm married to your mother. I'm married to the Mexican culture.
There you go.
Sean Baker, Anora, Brady Corbett, The Brutalist, Coralie Farge, The Substance, and James Mangold, A Complete Unknown. Now, I don't know why Denis Villeneuve is not nominated for Dune Part 2. He should be, which is why Dune Part... I can see Dune Part 2 not winning. No, not winning because the director wasn't nominated. All right? He wasn't nominated. Maybe James Mangold gets this Oscar. And he's a great director, but... All right. Actor in a leading role, which is where Carla Sofia Gascon should be, because that's a man. Adrian Brody, The Brutalist. Timothy Chalamet, A Complete Unknown. Coleman Domingo, Sing Sing. Ralph Fiennes, Conclave. Sebastian Stan, The Apprentice. Okay, I told you, it's the anti-Trump. Has anybody seen The Apprentice? No. You know why? It made 0 money at the box office. It made less than $10 million on its release. What's The Apprentice about? Sebastian Stan plays Donald Trump. And you can guess exactly how that goes. He's a buffoon. He's an idiot. He's clueless. He's manipulated by other people. He's exactly the clown that Hollywood wants you to think he is. So I can see Sebastian Stan winning that. Even though I think Timothy Chalamet probably is going to win an Oscar. I think Timothy Chalamet will win it, but I can see Sebastian Stan winning. And by the way, Sebastian Stan, yes, Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier.
I like Sebastian Stan for the most part and Bucky Barnes. He's like a decent guy. He seems like a nice person.
But yep, so I told you, this is the anti-Trump.
It's very anti-Trump.
Awards.
Yeah. Okay.
Actress in a leading role. Cynthia Erivo, Wicked, who I think should win. She was fabulous.
Yeah.
Carla Sofia Gascon, the man that will take away the award. So there'll be 2 leading actors this year. For the first time. Mickey Madison, Honora, Demi Moore, The Substance. She's a dark horse. I can see them giving it to Demi Moore for fun, for just like to honor all her roles that she's all done. But she won't. It'll go to the tranny. Fernanda Torres, I'm Still Here. And an actor in a supporting role, Yura Borsarev, Anora. Kieran Culkin, A Real Pain. Edward Norton, A Complete Unknown. Guy Pearce, The Brutalist, which I think is Guy Pearce is going to win it. Jeremy Strong, The Apprentice.
They might give it to him.
Yep. Actress in a supporting role, Monica Barbaro, A Complete Unknown. Ariana Grande, Wicked, I think she deserves it. They'll give it to Zoe Saldana for Amelia Perez.
You want to make a bet on that one? You want to add the bet to that one?
No.
That's a tough one, I'll be honest.
Because I think Ariana deserves it so much. Felicity Jones, The Brutalist, and she might win that. Isabella Rossellini for Conclave, and they might give it to her because just to honor her legacy as an actress. Writing, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Amelia Perez, Nickel Boys, Sing Sing. That's adapted screenplay. Again, Amelia Perez will win that. I'll do that. I'll put it writing, adapted screenplay, Amelia Perez.
Okay, so you do adapted, best actress.
That's not going to win, though.
And film.
That's not going to win.
That's not going to win it. I'm just be honest. You're actually better off with Zoe Saldana.
Writing, original screenplay, Nora the Brutalist.
I think I mispronounced her name terribly.
September 5, The Substance, and Substance will probably win. Animated feature film, Inside Out 2 should win. But it won't. Flow might win. Memoir of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit.
Amelia Perez.
The Wild Robot. Amelia Perez is now a cartoon as well. And Amelia Perez now identifies as an animated character and will win Best Animated Film.
Can we do that? It'd be wrong, but it'd be kind of funny.
We should make a video. Oh, we should make a video where Amelia Perez just identifies as everything.
Yes.
I identify as an adapted screenplay. Best screenplay. I identify as a cinematographer.
I identify as president.
Animated short film. I haven't seen any of them, so I can't really say anything. Cinematography. That's always a weird one. Amelia Perez, Maria, Nosferatu, Dune Part 2, The Brutalist.
Is there best music?
Oh, best song. Best song, baby.
That's what I was going to say. Is there best song?
Costume design. It's got
to have a nomination.
Amelia Perez is not there. Best costume.
With such lines as, please sing it.
No. That's costume design.
I thought you were saying
film editing, makeup and hairstyling. You have a man transgender transitioning to a woman that is now made up in makeup to look like another man.
And it transitions.
I guess I could get makeup that transitions to a woman. Makeup and hairstyling for that one, it was a difficult one, but it should go to Wicked. That should go to all that stuff, all that production stuff, makeup, set design, whatnot should either be Wicked or Dune Part 2.
Oh, get to the song. Get to the songs. If it's got
live action short film. I'm getting there.
Hurry, Green.
Music. Original score. Okay. The original score. The Brutalist, Conclave, Amelia Perez, Wicked, and The Wild Robot.
Oh, no.
Wicked's got to win that.
It should win it.
Music. Original song.
Oh, no. Please tell me Amelia Perez is nominated.
El Mal from Amelia Perez. The Journey from the 6888. Like a Bird from Sing Sing. Mi Camino from Amelia Perez.
But he has two?
Never Too Late from Elton John. Yeah. I think El Mal wins. Okay, I'll bet that one. That'll be my third.
Okay. Your third.
El Mal.
On stream, we're saying this. You have to get all three. House wins if you get only two. It's 2.5. That's what it is. You got to beat the over. 2.5, which is 3. If you're under 2.5, you lose.
Yep.
So it is song, it is actress, and it is film, correct? Mm-hmm. It is what we agreed upon. Same bet as last time. You still have your dinner. You just have an opportunity to add another dinner. I have an opportunity to kind of get even and have a hat as well.
Yep. It'll be, this will win. This is a pure I do evil because I'm tranny. That's exactly what that song is. Yep, that's going to win.
You don't have to get the song correct. You just have to get the movie. Because there's two. That's actually a good category for you to bet on because there's two.
It'll be El Mal. It'll be El Mal. Wicked does not have
an original song. Does Wicked not have an original song?
Is not nominated with it. That is a shame.
That actually, I was surprised. I thought there'd be at least one Wicked song in there. Yeah. Because it was such a good movie for me, you say.
An international feature film, Amelia Perez will win that.
Okay, so
best foreign film, showing that. How about that? I'll do 4 this time.
4?
I'm gonna roll the dice.
You're gonna 4?
Best picture, best foreign film, Best actress,
Best
song.
That's you want to do 4?
Yep.
All right, we'll change it to 4. You say here. That helps me more. 3, I was like, oh, these are very doable.
Yeah.
These 3. Those 4, still very doable. The 4 in film, but now you make me think the song is not going to go. Oh my God, if they do actress. I feel like there's going to be an actress union that's going to...
No, they support this. This is all... You remember, it's the Academy, the members of the Academy vote. It's all the people sitting there in the audience.
No, they don't vote in there, do they?
Yeah.
It's a different board, no?
No. Who makes up the Academy?
Yeah, who makes up the Academy?
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. Because I don't know if the actors could all vote.
The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences is made up of film artists who work in the production of theatrical release movies. The Academy's voting members are responsible for selecting the winners of the Academy Awards, also known as the Oscars. Membership is by invitation only. Invitations are extended to people who are active in the film industry. Invitations are also extended to people who have made notable contributions to the film industry. New members can only join one branch of the Academy. The branches. The Academy has 19 branches, including actors. So the actors vote on the actors. The actresses vote for the actresses.
Right.
So all the actors. So you're going to have all these women vote for a man to take away an award from a woman.
I don't know if that's going to happen.
It is. Yep.
All right. That is 4. I feel more confident about best film of the year.
Each voter makes 10 selections in each category. So every actress, so for Amelia Perez to be there, for that actress or whatever you want to call it to be there, she had to get the votes of all those people so many times, and then they'll vote on a winner.
Right.
That's the way.
Well, maybe because nominations is also just another way of also paying.
It's already won the Golden Globe.
No,
it
shouldn't have. It shouldn't have.
It's won jury prize at
God, they've killed my culture.
It won the BAFTAs. It won the AFI 2025 Film of the Year, American Film Institute.
Dude, being a Mexican, especially an illegal Mexican in the U.S. right now, gotta suck. But it's like you can't. You're getting deported, and also it's like on the left, all they're doing is yay, Amelia Perez. That's crazy. Talk about being abandoned by everyone.
I mean, I showed you the list. We talked about the list. We reviewed almost 50 different films last year.
Yeah, that's probably one of the worst, if not the worst. Like, The Crow is honestly better.
Yeah.
And The Crow is horrible.
It's bad.
Like, I don't want to watch The Crow.
But if you're going to talk about the best of the best, I mean...
Deadpool, Wolverine.
But no,
did Wolverine and Deadpool not get any nominations?
No. I mean, and I'm not surprised it didn't. But if you want to talk about things that deserve things on artistic merit... Dune, and Wicked.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
I made an Fly Me to the Moon.
Again, I wasn't a Wicked fan. I was walking into the theater going, I'm going to hate this. And I walked out going, that was pretty fucking cool.
I had actually bad...
I thought Cynthia Erivo and I thought Ariana Grande absolutely killed it in their roles, killed it in their singing. And I thought the production was great. They did practical sets and practical effects when they could.
Like, she should win Best Actress.
I think she should. Yeah, I think she is. I think she put in the performance that... I think she put in the most iconic female performance of the year. You think about like Heath Ledger's Joker.
Right.
That was the iconic supporting villain role of the year.
Well, it's also the Joker, too, on top of that.
Yeah. But
also, not to take away Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger is...
Yeah, but she's the Wicked Witch of the West.
It's the role.
It's Elphaba. But whether you like the movie or not, she put in the most iconic performance that a woman could put in all year. And she deserves it. And, and I'm not even like her as a person. She says things on a social standpoint, a political standpoint. I don't agree with at all.
But she's a good actress.
She does her. She nails it. She nailed her shit.
Absolutely.
Nailed her shit.
It's okay to disagree with people.
Yeah.
But you got to be honest, give them flowers where flowers are due.
And I think of Best Picture. I think of cinematic experience. Okay. Again, I go back to Dune Part 2. Holy crap, what a cinematic experience in every way. Visually, audio-wise, music, acting, special effects. Everything was just done so well. And it's almost a 3-hour film that feels like it just flies by because it's so good.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like 3 hours.
Same thing with Wicked. Just everything done. Details. So well. that I can't.
You have
I
nothing bad
can't.
to say about it.
As a movie lover of 50 years, I can't see any film more deserving this year of the Best Picture award than either one of those. So,
I mean, of this year
the fact that the director of Wicked is not nominated
is surprising.
is surprising. Now, they only allow 5 nominees. Again, so why is Amelia Perez in there? Because it's the anti-Trump tranny Oscars. I don't know.
I mean, it didn't even perform well, the movie, right?
It was mostly on Netflix.
Yeah, but it didn't perform well on Netflix. Still.
No. I mean,
It's trying to get pushed.
it got pushed because it's so controversial. Right? Literally, if it wasn't for people like me talking about it.
Yeah.
Let's go to box office.
Well, my point is they're still trying to push it.
Mojo. They're still trying to push it. Yeah, box office Mojo. Let's look at worldwide. Let's look at. It's made $10 million worldwide. What it's made for, Netflix, who knows?
Because the deal isn't published.
Let's see how much money it's made in Mexico. Okay, it wasn't released in. Look at 2024. France, Spain, Italy. It made $8 million in France. And then the rest of the 10 million was minuscule. Colombia, Australia, New Zealand. Let's see here.
Are there any estimates?
No, 10 million. No estimates on Mexico.
Not Mexico, but just in total.
Yeah, 10 million
That's it?
total for
World?
Yeah.
Including the U.S.? Well, granted, it didn't go in theaters in the U.S. and Netflix, but
Yeah.
still. How much do you think they paid, if you had to guess?
I'm sure they didn't pay that much because, I mean, no one else wanted to distribute the movie, but Netflix did because it's Netflix. And, let's go to 2024 here. Worldwide. Which, okay, we go down. We're still going down to the bottom. Amelia Perez. Yeah, it's given no money made in Mexico, so it might have just premiered. They had a premiere for it, and they didn't put it in theaters. I've not seen it in theaters. You know,
No, I've never seen it get advertised. We walked by 3 movie theaters in this place?
Yeah, let's go to Sinopolis here. Let's see here. We'll just choose regular Angelopolis there. Schedule, ignore Bagman, Evil Spirit, Conclave, Carina. Yeah, it's in theaters. Subtitled. It's in theaters. You can go watch it right now in theaters.
Oh, Gringo, you have another review?
No, I'm not going to go see that. Yeah.
You already saw it. You should be seeing it again, but this time on the big screen.
I don't need to see it on the big screen.
You don't want to see those fantastic musicals again?
No, I don't. I really don't. Interstellar got re-released. That's cool. In IMAX. Maybe go see that. Paddington Jungle Adventure. Guess he goes to Peru. Nosferatu. Finally, you can go see Nosferatu.
We have to watch that.
Yeah, but it's been out, so I'm not going to do a review on it because it's been
never mind.
I want to go see Flight Risk. That's the one I want to go see, and I don't even know when that comes out. I think that comes out. Today's the 20th. Tomorrow's the 24th. And that is a Nora. Nope, it's not. Flight Risk is, so what about the 25th? Flight Risk. And looks like I'm going to have to wait on Flight Risk. You know what I always have to do? If you're down here in Mexico, sometimes movies come out early, sometimes they come out real late. So if you want to see a movie, an English movie, English and subtitles, go to IMDb. You always have to research. Oh, I can't wait for Mickey 17 to come out. Jesus. All right, so let's say Flight Risk 2025, and we'll see the release dates for that. You got to go all the way. I usually have the international release dates. Let's see here. Okay. Is it not coming out in Mexico?
It might not be.
Oh, January 30th, so it comes out later. So we won't be able to see it. So the United States will see it before us. Or, yeah, that's it. The United States will see it before us. That always sucks. That always sucks.
R?
Or...
R. Matey.
But yeah, so that's the Oscar nominee. So I don't want to watch the Oscars. I will because I comment on pop culture and politics, and it's kind of like.
Should we live stream the Oscars? No, we can't.
No, but we can live stream us watching the Oscars.
Do you want to watch all of it?
When is it?
This is a tough decision to make. Do I want to sit down and watch
March 2nd, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
That's your birthday gift from me to you.
Shut up. All right. But with that, all right.
We've got to do a lot.
Wow, it's already 11:14. It is really a late night here.
I gotta get kind of dinner, huh?
Dude, I'm hungry. I'm
hungry. I was gonna read something before this, but
yeah. Your dog is falling asleep all over my pillows.
He was asleep here for the longest time.
He's just out like a light.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. I will be back a little bit later after getting some to eat, but maybe me not on camera, but my game came out, and I'm going to play my game. Star Wars Episode 1 Jedi Power Battles, re-released 25 years later with new characters and everything. Hell yeah, I get the PlayStation 5 version, and it's been a little bit remastered, but I'm going to have a lot of fun with that. And,
you might hear me here. You might
I'll hear you.
Maybe.
But with that, thank you for everybody for joining in, seeing us, checking us out. From south of the border, for me, for my son, you got anything? Salud.
Salud. And huevo. Adios.
Adios.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches. Yeah, it is late. Woo! Yeah.